Hello and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. Before we get started, a quick update on what I'm doing in building. I'll be speaking at the Military CreatorCon this April 17th at 2 p.m., where I'm breaking down how to get started and leveraging content off the stuff you create, and how to turn that experience to leverage and real opportunities. On the business side through Cavness, I'm leading U.S. market expansion for TechBank, a Vietnam-based software development firm helping enterprise systems build better products. I'm also working with EarthVC, focused on sourcing and supporting deep tech startups around areas like energy, robotics, advanced materials. And I'm also hosting an event for Seattle Deep Tech Week on June 8th, where we'll have 10 deep tech startups doing demos. Our guest today is Travis Partington. Travis, thanks for being here today.
Jason, what a pleasant surprise and bonus to be here.
Yes. Also with us today is Taylor Ray for a little bit. Taylor Ray is also a featured speaker at a Military CreatorCon, and she's been doing all the geofencing for the event. So, Travis, I always try to start off with like a softball question. What do you do to either like take care of yourself, have fun, hobbies, or something like that?
I combine it both. Right now, I'd say I compete in weightlifting. So that's the Olympic snatch and the clean and jerk. I just got back from the Arnold's last month, where I competed in my age group weight class. I swept silver, so I took silver in the snatch, clean and jerk in the total, and broke my New England record in the clean and jerk.
So totally off the wall question, right? So I'm a TikTok a lot, right? So there's a guy on TikTok. His name is Analotti something, whatever.
Okay.
And what he does, he pretends he's a cleaner, right? And he goes around.
I've seen that guy, yeah.
That dude is so fucking strong. And I look at people's face like, you can't build. He like lifts stuff with one hand and stuff.
Right.
And man, and he takes his clothes off, like he's so ripped, right?
Well, I am not ripped, but I am strong.
Yeah. How long you been doing this?
For a long time. I started when I was in high school, and then took a little break when I was in the Marine Corps, and then the real backstory is about 4.5 years ago, I ruptured my quadricep tendon. It was an old Marine Corps injury that came due, and a lot of PT people and surgeons were like, I don't think you're going to be able to compete again. It's a severe, catastrophic injury. You can't walk when you have that happen. And I guess as the Marine Corps in me, I said, yeah, right. And we started working on it, and my PT and surgeon and coaches got together and figured out a plan. And so it was really a really cool moment to go to a national meet last month and take silver.
Doesn't like really wear and tear your limbs and like your tendons and joints and stuff?
Yeah, it's a rare injury, but my surgeon, when he opened me up, said, did you ever injure this before? I said, as a matter of fact, in the Marine Corps, it's why I got kind of booted out of the Marine Corps. I had a patella injury during a run, and couldn't run anymore. And you know how it is if you're in the Army Marine Corps and you can't run, you're kind of like not useful to them. So out I went. And he's like, it looked like it just took years for it to finally get to a point where it just failed.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn to Taylor real fast. Taylor, can you give us like a quick update of what you've been working on, and like how's the geofencing things going?
Sure. Hello, I'm kind of hidden back here. We did a super last minute episode, so I'm really excited to kind of sit in and just learn more about Travis and talk more to Jason. But yeah, I've been working a lot on geofencing. For anybody that doesn't know, I specialize in geofencing marketing, and so we deliver ads to anybody that's within a certain parameter or anybody that fits a certain demographics that we put a geofence around. So I've been just super busy with contracts and preparing for a Military CreatorCon as well. Really excited to speak. I'll be speaking April 18th at 2:30. So, I'm just going to talk about how geofencing is helpful and how it's a military technology. So it's very interesting to veterans, and especially those veterans and military that have businesses that are creators. So just excited to prepare for that and keep going.
So talk about specifically how you're going to be able to help out people at a Military CreatorCon, especially military veterans. And since Travis here, we'll use Travis like a test case, right? Like with the stuff Travis is doing, he has his podcast, he does other things. Like how can geofencing specifically help out someone like Travis? And y'all two can talk back and forth a little bit.
I love it. Yeah, I love it, Travis.
Hey,
Let's talk
Taylor,
about it.
Did we just meet or something?
We did. We just met this morning.
It's awesome. Like, you know, Taylor hits me up on LinkedIn, and she's like, I'm in Seattle. I'm like, well, I'm coming to Seattle. SeaTac, actually, to be precise. And here we are.
I know. I live like 10 minutes from SeaTac, and so I was like, oh, that'd be cool if we meet up for coffee or something. So we literally met this morning, and I thought Travis would be really interesting for the podcast. So I'm glad he was able to make it. It was all really well timed and worked out very well. So yeah, super excited to meet.
So I know what geofencing is from a cyber perspective, but let's just say I'm going as Oscar Mike Radio, or I'm doing my TV show, or I'm doing my vocal work. Could geofencing work for me?
Definitely.
And in what way?
So there's a few ways it could work. The strategy is one of the most interesting parts about this, and it's the part that I personally love. But there's two ways. We could, first of all, target some of your competitors. So we could target other TV shows, we could target other vocal and audio studios, so that the people that are customers of those audio studios would see the ad if they go into those audio studios. So that would be like recording artists, things like that, people looking for more podcasting shows. And then the other way we could do it is we could pull all the data segments and demographics of people that fit your target audience. So let's see, who would you be looking mostly to target?
So I target primarily veterans, but I also look at, if a veteran is, I don't know, between ages of 30 and 50, I want to know what, the spouses they might have, what the kids do, especially around Christmas time. So if there's a particular hot gift, I want to try to target a guest like that.
Okay. That's super easy. So what we could do, I know you live in Boston.
Yep.
We could target every single person's household in Boston that's either a veteran within those age demographics that, based on their search history, is looking for something similar to that. And so we can actually scrub all the households of the people that fit that demographic, and we can send a geofence to each of those households. Since we're targeting their houses, like they have their mobile phone, their computers, their laptops, desktops, tablets, and then also we can do streaming too. So we're going to see your ad be placed all over these households multiple times, and they're constantly going to be seeing you. So it's a really, really good way to get you in front of demographics that are specifically for you.
It almost sounds like you're doing like a Facebook type thing without having to go through Meta's way of doing it.
Kind of, yeah. It's a lot like Facebook, but what we found is that sometimes your target market isn't on Facebook.
Right.
Like a lot of the times we're trying to target these high decision makers of specific companies or people that work in tech in a certain place. And so a lot of times they're not on Instagram, like they're not on Facebook, they're not on TikTok, right? And so no matter where they're searching, no matter what they're doing on their phone, we can find them based on that.
Nice. I'm in.
I love it.
Also, want to give a shout out to Taylor. She's my first official sponsor for the Deep Tech Week. We're still figuring out how much money she's going to give up, though. So, Travis, talk a little bit about what you're doing right now. You're crocheting something for the MCC?
I am. You're right. So Mara's like, hey, I need items for the raffle. I'm like, I'm working on this camo blanket. And I said, I'll make it for you. I'm almost done with it. I'm on the final third of it. So I figured, I got some time during the panels. I'll bring it and work on it. So it's a really funny story how I got into doing this.
Yeah, I said, how does like a big buff Marine weightlifting 10,000 pounds, like doing some crocheting?
So when I first started Oscar Mike Radio back in 2016, one of the first people that reached out to help for me was a woman by the name of Jill from Georgia, and she made blankets for veterans and the VA system down there, and she needed yarn. And she reached out to a friend of hers who reached out to me saying, hey, can you help her out? I'm like, I don't know anything about yarn, crochet, or anything. Like, what is this? I mean, if it's motorcycles or cigars or bows or firearms, great. I got you. But crochet? So I found this group of women who do Project Linus. And Project Linus is all over the United States and worldwide, actually. And they make blankets for kids with cancer. And Linus had his blanket. And I don't know about you, every now and then I get out my Marine Corps poncho liner, and that's my blankie, right? So I'm like, okay, I got motivated. I went there and asked them. I said, hey, can you give me like some yarn scraps or yarn you don't use anymore? And they're like, yeah, we'll give you the yarn, but typical New England women, we're going to give you the yarn, but you've got to learn how to crochet. Nothing's free in New England. Nothing is free at all. And the thing was, they wanted to watch this big Marine with these big, huge mitts work a crochet hook so they could laugh at me. Once they laughed at me, then I got the yarn. But I'm doing this and I'm trying like get the hook in the thing and feed it out. And I'm like, I am not going to let a piece of string and a crochet hook beat me. Screw that. I'm gonna conquer this thing. And I just stuck with it. And then like 6 months later, I started being able to do these things. And now someone's like, hey, I got this fundraiser coming up. Can you make a blanket, or do you have a blanket you can donate for this? I'm like, sure, here you go. So I'm doing a blanket right now. I did one for the town of Abington that we're raising money for a mobility van for veterans. And I hosted that blanket at Yaz's table in Abington, and it's raised a lot of money. And so I don't know why I do it. I can't really tell you a specific reason why I keep doing it, but I just do it. People like the blankets, and so here we are.
So Travis, I think the saying goes, once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yes.
What does it mean, like after all these years, like still be like, I'm a U.S. Marine? What does that mean? Talk about that culture they all have.
It's just never going to go away. There's just some things that I do because I am a Marine. There's been times in my life, both personally, professionally, where, I'm getting my tail kicked because, life just happens to reach up and smack me like with my injury. And all I have is that Marine mindset that no matter what the objective is, I'm going to overcome it. I don't care how painful it is. I don't care how long it takes. I'm not going to quit. I'm never going to stop, and I'm not going to stop until I win.
And Marines, aren't they like they're part of the Navy, sort of, kind of? But isn't the Marines like it's his own separate thing? Isn't the Marines like part of like the smallest service thing? Like maybe 200,000 people in the Marines.
We are the smallest branch. We're the smallest branch, and so we are technically naval infantry. But we are part of the Navy, and
if you're a Navy guy, good luck trying to tell a Marine what to do.
Right. Well, they're our Uber.
Yeah,
that's what we tell them, and they just consider us cargo.
That's so funny. So why the Marines versus anything else you had joined?
Well, that's a good question because my parents moved us to Shreveport, Louisiana, which is right next to Bossier, which is the home of the Strategic 8th Air Command for the Air Force. And we went to the air show every year, and I'm like, this is a pretty nice base. But for whatever reason, I had it in my mind. I think it's because I watched Full Metal Jacket around that time when it came out. I'm like, I can do that. So I chose the Marine Corps. I took my test. And like, hey, you're not going to be a grunt. You're smart to be in the air wing. And, what do you think? I'm like, I'd like to be air traffic control or work on avionics or something like that. And so I went in the Marine Corps, did all that, and went to boot camp. And I got this MOS called Hawk. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We're in Camp Pendleton, and the Master Sergeant says, Partington's a Hawk Missile Systems operator. I'm like, what's that? And the Captain Wolf was his name. He's like, I don't know, Marine, but guess what? When you get there, they'll teach you all about it. But the funny thing is, I get to Fort Bliss, which is where the air defense schools are for the U.S. military, and they're like, Hawk's going away. I'm like, no way. The Marine Corps would not put me through all this to send me to an MOS that's
Welcome to the military, as they say.
And guess what, John? 18 months later, we got the Almar saying Hawk is going away. And the funny thing is, fast forward a couple of years ago, we got word, we got to see our gear being used by Ukraine. The gear that we packed up was mothballed. They shipped over to Ukraine, and they used it. Raytheon tried hiring me 2 years ago to come work for them, but you didn't maintain your security clearance? I was like, no, why would I do a thing like that? But it's just crazy how this all worked out, which is why I got the missile here on my logo here. This is kind of like, part of why I keep the Hawk thing alive.
Good question for you. I can't remember the name. What's the name of the movie what Clint Eastwood was in? He had a bunch
Heartbreak Ridge.
So what's a better movie, Heartbreak Ridge or Full Metal Jacket?
They're both good.
Yeah.
It's just because, Full Metal Jacket was about Vietnam, and I felt like they got a lot of that right, even though some of it was just Hollywood. Heartbreak Ridge, a lot of it's Hollywood, but still they got the Recon Marine right and Grenada right.
Okay. So next question, right? So I think correct me if I'm wrong, but as long as someone finishes basic training, they're considered a veteran, right? Or it's like have to do 1 or 2 years. Or
Well, it's changed over the years, but now if you've completed basic training, you are considered a veteran.
Okay, so question for you this, right? So is a veteran mean like if someone that did 2 years and got out and someone else did 15 years get out? Is veteran to veteran, or it's like should they be treated differently? So a person who did more be getting more benefits, or is it like a veteran is a veteran?
It's a great question. It's something I come up against a whole lot because I didn't deploy into serving combat, and I just go back to what the Veterans Administration declares as a veteran. If you either completed boot camp or got an honorable discharge, you are a veteran. And it's because a lot of us did not get a choice. I didn't get a choice. You didn't get a choice about where you're supposed to go. And if you're not in a combat MOS or a weapons company MOS, you're not going to be on the front lines. But you still served. You still had to put your uniform on, meet the standard, execute the function for which you were intended, and then you got out. And it's really, I don't like getting into this, well, you didn't deploy, so you're not a veteran, you didn't serve in combat, because at the end of the day, civilians and a lot of our elected officials don't care either way. There's people out there who would love to take our benefits, take what we have earned, paid for in blood away, and they don't care whether or not we served overseas, we're deployed, whatever. We have to band together as a brotherhood and sisterhood to be there for each other.
I think one thing we have to get away from, I see a lot of veterans doing this. So like, oh man, I served, 9 years, and my disability is only 30%. How did this fuck over here only do 2 years, have 100%, right? It doesn't seem fair, right? But like, you don't know what that dude did in 2 years, right?
Well,
I think
right.
a lot of people do that bullshit.
Okay, you served 9 years and you rode a desk, and maybe you got hurt, fine. Or maybe you served 2 years and you got pinned underneath a 5-ton and your back's broken and jacked up. I'm sure the guy who served 2 years would rather be in your place.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a firm believer that if you complete basic training and that's it, you should get 30% for life, right? Just even don't do anything in the military, you're doing PT every day on fucking concrete, right? 5 days a week, and that just tears your body up. Just that alone, right? Not much less all the rest of the stuff we have to do, like obstacle courses, carrying stuff. Yeah. I don't think most civilians don't realize all the stuff that we have to do.
No, especially the American military has some of the harder boot camps in the world. That's a known fact. And there is it's not the years, it's the miles.
Yeah.
You put the miles on, John.
Yeah, Jason.
Oh, Jason, sorry.
Yeah. I can remember as I was an officer one time, I had like a stress fracture in my foot. I just had to do a 5-mile run, because officer, you men do so you don't do right. It's just, looking back, man, I was dumb as fuck, right? But like, you really have no choice in the military, right? You either do or you don't.
Especially if you're an officer, you're supposed to lead from the front, so you're supposed to suck it up. But there's
just
a price.
Pop that Motrin and, go with it.
Like candy,
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk about another thing, Route. So I think a lot of veterans, in my opinion, a lot of veterans have that attitude, like, I served 4 years, right? And the world owes me everything, right? Like, do we really owe everything for 4 years, right? Like, is it really up? Like, I know a lot of veterans, I did 4 years. I can't get a job. I can't do that. Well, it's on you too, right? It's on you as a veteran to try to do some stuff. You just can't ask for handouts.
Well, I think there's two ways to look at this, right? I agree with the first thing, that just because I serve doesn't mean I get a free handout. I'm not asking for a free handout. I never have, but I do think it's kind of, you go into a job field, whether it's admin, avionics, heavy equipment maintenance, or security, right? If you're an infantry, soldier, and you go to apply someplace that has a similar kind of job requirements that you did in the military, and you're told to your face, well, hey, you know what? You don't have this school, that school, that school. You're not, available for that job. I'm like, well, what do you mean? You did this job at a high level. Just like your civilian counterpart, you don't get the same kind of, review on your resume because you didn't go to the civilian equivalent. I think that's wrong. By the same token, I also say to veterans, I'm like, it is on you once you get out to make your own success. And the cool thing is, versus when you and I serve versus now, is like in the Army, there's a Soldier for Life program. I tell Army guys, like there's literally a program that will get you in a job when you're like, a year at EAS to get you going in life. Well, I'm not sure I want to do that. Well, then don't come crying to me, 2 years later that you didn't have the support you needed when there was a program designed to help you with moving expenses, health care, housing, all that for you. So it's a balancing act, right? We should be assessed the same way our civilian counterparts are. Absolutely. We should be to the front of the line in certain things like we're municipal and state and federal jobs. Absolutely. By the same token, we got to get off our own butts. And you're going to talk about this in MCC, which is why I'm hoping to really get to tune into what you have to do. And you've got to take action. Take the action to make your success.
Yeah. I let's have so many great programs now, right? Hopefully it's better than when we got out, but like those like hire heroes, hero hirers,
Yes.
military spouse. There's so many programs. Things
Helmets to hard hats, all those. Yeah.
you have. There's apprentices for plumbers, electricians, anything there is. Just Google it or go ChatGPT. I'm getting out of the Army, a military in a year. I want to do blank, and there's do all these resources. But you have to put in the work, right? You have to make
You
an
have to
effort.
put in the reps. There's no, you can't cheat the grind. You can't.
Yeah, I agree. Right? It's more resources now for sure for military veterans. Another theory I have, and I'm sure probably most people disagree with me, right? So we have all these like these veterans that get in trouble right out of the military, right? They're whatever the transition problems, they're homeless or they're in jail, whatever the problem is. My theory is, I'll probably get blasted for this. My theory is like all these people getting in trouble after the military or the same way in the military, right? Like in the military, they'll get in chapter, get ARC 15s, and they were never able to like transition to life either in the military or after the military. Like they're just been, I don't hate to say the word problem child, but some people, they're just problem child, right? And I think all the focus is on them versus all the veterans who are doing good stuff.
Well, what's the old expression? 80%, 20% of the people cause you 80% of the problems.
Yeah.
So that's true anywhere. The military is not a cure-all for the person. The person has to make their own choice to live their life and conduct themselves a certain way. Which is why I am one of those who, okay, if you got out with a dishonorable discharge or honorable discharge, and I get blasted for this, Jason, I'm not going to put the effort into you the same way if you got out with an honorable.
Yeah.
Or a medical. Medical is the exception, but if you got dishonorably discharged, you don't have your good conduct medal. There's too many other people that played by the rules, did the right thing for me to sit there and give resources to somebody who did not.
So I will push back just a little bit, right?
Okay.
My thing is like, they got dishonorable discharge, but at least they made a good faith effort, right? At least they attempted, right? Where like most people don't even make an attempt, right? So I will give them that credit. Would I spend like as much time as done as somebody like got honorable discharge? Probably not, but at least in my mind, okay, you made an effort, right? And it didn't work out.
Well, if you got dishonorably discharged and owned it, yep, I was a screw up in, the battalion. I didn't take life seriously. I got out and realized I need to make change. And here, yep, I was a screw up, and this is where I'm at. I'm gonna give you a second listen for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I was in the Army 25 years. In 25 years, only seen one person get a dishonorable discharge, right?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in the Army, you had to fucking try really.
I was gonna say
you got to try really fucking hard in the Army. Like in the Army, we're like, okay, second chances, third chances, like. Yeah, or those some shitbags in the Army, right? Like I joke around all the time. Like people talk all the time, like I want to hire. You hear me say I want to hire veterans. Are you sure, right? Because I was in the Army, people I work with, or work for, or work for me, I wouldn't hire to cut my grass. So yeah, it's like any other demographic, right? There's good people, bad people, people you admire, people like man, like yeah.
Well. I love hiring and working with veterans. I work with a lot of them, and there's that camaraderie that we all have, whether we're Army, Navy, Air Force, whatever. But there's some people in my battalion that they just seem to love to find trouble. Trouble. It just found me. I'm like, no, trouble didn't just find you. You went out and looked for it.
So I got a funny story for you, right?
Okay.
Not somebody got in trouble. But I was a captain career, right? Had the E6 award for me, right? And during the 1 month period, she was in 5 accidents.
What?
It gets better. She never drove the car. Each X accident, she was in the back seat. And he's like, it's not my fault. Like Staff Sergeant, you in 5 accidents in the back seat. There's no freaking way that's a coincidence, right? What was going on? Like, were you talking too loud, hitting someone? Like 5 accidents? No, but sir, I don't want. What am I going to account statement for? Like, I was in the back seat of the car doing nothing. You were doing nothing, but yet you're in 5 accidents. Like, make it make sense.
That's like a mathematical anomaly.
Yeah.
How do you? It's first time for everything.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like we're trying to figure that shit out, right? And everyone in the car was like, "No, she didn't do anything. She just like talking politely, nothing crazy going on." Like it's just it made no sense at all. So let's talk about this. A lot of times we talk about veterans and we only talk about military people, but sometimes veterans actually catch off like military dependents, military spouses.
Sure.
People don't know like military spouses. They're actually the most unemployed demographic in the United States.
Yeah.
Which is like insane, right? Like my wife, she has a degree in criminology, right? Never worked at, most military spouses, they do 10, 20 years with their husband, they get out, nothing on their resume, and they try to get a job. And they're like, hey, what have you been doing for the last 20 years, right? A perfect example, I was stationed in Italy. It was so bad in Italy. Of course, I had like the visa issues, the work permits or whatever. But for you who don't know, in the Army, there's a thing called a commissary, like the grocery store, right? And so at the commissary in Vicenza, Italy, the baggers were all military spouses, and all the military spouses have master's degrees.
Really?
Like how fucking insane is that, right?
Yeah.
And that's like pretty much everywhere, right?
Well, it's certainly.
And I know Military Colonel has like several great speakers and panels speaking about military spouse employment.
Absolutely. It's a very underappreciated role in the military. And, I don't know about you, but I joined the Marine Corps and I had, a couple of senior officers and master gunnery sergeants who were like, hey, Marine, your wife's not part of your CBAG issue. They were the school that, this is not our problem. And that's changed. But as I've learned throughout time, you can't sit there and diminish the value a spouse has, especially a wife, in making sure the other part of the unit is fine. If that young wife for that E2, the E5, or that O1 to O2 is not getting the support she needs, it makes the other job a lot harder for that Marine, that soldier doing that job. So if there's support there, if there is, programs and employment there, it's a better experience for everybody.
Yes, I belong to this Facebook group. I never post on there. I just like go on there sometime. I think it's called JBLM something, whatever. And it's like kind of sad stuff people post on, like wives be like, our spouses are say, my spouse has been deployed to Korea for a year. I have no one here. All this sad stuff, right? Like I can't find a job. Like, man, like it's like, man, I'm like, man, still have the same issues after all these years. Spouses like having time to adjust. Like one spouse, me and my husband, his PFC, we got married 2 months ago. We moved here from like Kentucky, first time out of the state. I'm here, JBLM. And they tell me my husband has to leave for 6 months. I didn't know that. I would have stayed at home. No one's here. It's like you heard these sad stories. And the thing like FRGs and military groups supposed to take care of everyone, but man, like they don't have time, right? Because everyone has they have their own stuff to deal with.
Well, let me ask you this, Jason. I mean, there was a time in the Marine Corps where if you were an E4 below or an O1, you had to get permission to get married. Do you think we should bring that back?
No, I don't. Yeah. I mean,
But that would solve a lot of these problems, though.
It would. The bigger problem is this. I had this happen several times in the military. Hey, sir, just let you know, PFC John got married yesterday. Who are you married? This lady named Chandelier at the so-and-so strip club. That would happen all the time. And 3 months later, of course, they get a divorce, right?
Well, yeah. I mean.
For that, yes. I used to be able to say no for that, yeah. But something like hometown love, probably not.
Probably not? I don't know. What do you think, Taylor? Is love real that we should allow these guys to get married?
I feel like, yeah, because at the end of the day, like, it's America. So you still have to have that level of freedom and, like, you have to be able to follow your passions, follow your dreams. So I think so, yeah. Ooh. But also, I didn't realize there were issues like that.
All the time.
All the time.
That's funny.
Goddamn Chandelier. I think it was Chandelier or some other name like that. She like married like four more soldiers like in a year period. I never want to meet Chandelier. I don't want to be the number 5.
And let me guess, none of these soldiers listen to you, Jason.
Oh, no, of course not. They didn't listen to anybody. I was in love.
Love's not real, dude.
No. So, how many years did you do in the Marines?
3.5.
3.5, okay.
Yeah.
And like, in my mind, it's like, Army has a lot of cool stuff. There's Rangers, stuff like that. The Air Force, I don't really know how they're a military unit, There's like, flyby boys, You got the Navy, doing like a year, like 6 months on a boat, hot bedding, like one bed of 3 people,
Right.
Of course, I'm making all this up kind of sort of as a joke. But like the Marines have this stereotype of like being like rough and tough, like the real military, right? Is they really like this? Are y'all really like gung ho, tough, like ready to kill people in a minute, or like is that just a stereotype in a minute?
Well, I mean, it's different because I was in the air wing, and they considered us hawkers, half air wing, half grunt. But when you're sitting out there and it's 121 degrees and you're drinking 4 gallons of water in an hour to stay alive, and you got to go inside the control van, and there's we took targets from Yuma, Luke Air Force Base, sometimes Miramar. We're trying to kill those guys. We understand that if we do not engage the enemy aircraft and take it down, it's going to either kill us or kill the objective behind it. So we took it pretty seriously, and then we humped. We did small weapons exercises. I had my 240 that we took out in the field. We did all that stuff.
So today, would you recommend someone join the Marines?
I would recommend anybody join any one of the services because regardless of just baseline, regardless of what service you join, Space Force I don't know anything about, so I can't speak to that one. But let's just say the Coast Guard all the way up to the National Guard, you're going to get a base set of skills and experiences in life that's going to put you ahead of other people. You're going to understand how to deal with adversity. You're going to understand how to deal with high expectations. You're going to learn things about yourself that you didn't know, and you'll be able to take that and turn to different areas in your life. I would not be where I am if I didn't have that time in the Marine Corps. I wouldn't understand certain things about myself if I didn't join the Marine Corps and go through those challenges and adversity.
So one time I was meeting with some guy here in Tacoma, right? He wasn't military, right, at all, right? And I was sitting there, and this other dude came in, right? And instantly, it's like we knew we were each in the military, right? And the guy was like, "How the fuck y'all know the military? Like we just know, right? It's just you just know,
right?
I don't know what it is, like the vibe, but you just know people in the military." So my thing is like I would never recommend anyone like retire from the military like I did now because they changed the retirement stuff. But like my thing is like do the 4 to 6 years, right? Get the benefits, get a GI Bill, get a skill. I mean, the military gives you so many benefits, like you get the, when I was, you get like 50% off education, right? There's so many skills. But I'll say don't retire because our armies, the military changed so much unless someone tells you, hey, John Bob, based on your record, you're competitive for colonel. Or, hey, John Bob, based on your skill, you're competitive for sergeant major, right?
Right.
But like, you do your 4 or 6 years, get what you can out of it, and do something else.
It's not worth staying in 20 anymore?
Because they changed the retirement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not 50% no more.
What is it?
It's some kind of 401k plan now.
Oh.
The way I've seen it, yeah. And you got to put money into it. I mean, I could be wrong, of course, but yeah, that's somewhere in that. Yeah, it's I don't know. But you definitely learn a lot of good friends. All my top friends from the military. One thing I'm very proud of, like 80% of the people that work for me in the Army are still like my Facebook friends, just asking for advice, that's pretty cool. So let's talk about military credit card now.
Sure.
So James and Mara putting this on in Arlington, Texas. And like, talk about your role, how you helping out, what you doing?
Oh, wow. I am helping out with the volunteer coordination, which has been interesting how it works and getting people to help us out. Big shout out to the University of Texas at Arlington, who's providing the color guard for the opening ceremony. So,
hey, quick question. So I saw that. So the opening ceremony is at the college?
No, they're coming. They're bringing a detachment there to do.
Okay, I thought I read that the opening ceremony was at the University of Texas at Arlington.
No,
I was like, how is that going to be? Okay, so I must have read that wrong then. Okay,
no problem. No, they're sending a detachment here to do the color guard for the opening ceremony. So big shout out to them. Shout out to fellow Marines April and Karen. I serve with both of them. One of them's driving from Kentucky to volunteer. The other one's driving up from Houston. I guess they really liked me, when I was in the Marine Corps. I don't know. But, I'm doing that, and I've done some of these interviews for Mara with SIA, where I talk to people who are coming to Military Creator Con to speak and learning about them. And then I'm presenting.
So obviously, like people like me and you, we're taking part to help James Mara out and want to like give value to people. But at the end of the day, like, what do you want to get out of it? Because you need to get some out of it too. Like, you need to get some kind of value, some kind of ROI for yourself. What do you want to get out of this experience?
Well, I want validation, Jason. I want to, because you and I have both been in rooms where we're the veteran and we're the minority, right? There'd be 100 people at a networking event, maybe there's 8 or 9 veterans, and it's hard getting your voice heard. And I've always been interested to see what happens when there is an ecosystem or a place where it's specifically veteran focused, and you and I can get our platform heard on a much wider scale, what happens. So I'm not saying I'm looking for something like right now in a couple of weeks when I do this, but I want to see what the downstream effects are for you, for Taylor, for me, and for people who participate, because I'm thinking in like 4 to 7 years from now, what's going to happen because I was at this one.
So let's suppose there's a veteran out there, right? They don't know nothing about this. They listen to podcasts and decide, let me go here. Like, they're not creators. They're veteran, been out 4 or 5 years. What should Military Creator Con do for this veteran? Like, what should this veteran with no connection to any of us expect from this conference?
We should welcome them. I mean, hey, I'm Travis. I do Oscar Mike Radio. I do a TV show. I do vocal work. Why are you here? Well, I'm Joe veteran. I didn't know much about it, but look cool. Well, hey, I'm happy that you're here. Do you have any interest? Well, yeah, I like music. I like pottery. I do marketing for my real job. Well, I know these people who are in that space. Like, let me introduce you to Taylor, who I met in Seattle, and talk about geofencing. They should feel connected to the process, even though they're not part of the process.
So next question, how about someone who has no connection to military at all? Like some Joe Civilian, like someone invites them, they have nothing, they don't know anything about the military. They don't know what a general is, a private is. They have no idea right at all. And they decide to come for some reason. What should we provide for them?
Well, first of all, that's a fantastic question. I think that's a question that we as veterans, Jason, need to ask more and more. Because some of my biggest advocates and my biggest supporters of me as a veteran and in Oscar Mike Radio and in the media work I do have been civilians. So and civilians are the ones that vote. So they're going to decide, how our tax money is spent. So if we have a civilian that bought the ticket, and the ticket's not cheap, as you and I both know, and they want to come, I want to find out, one, why they're there, who they're looking to meet, what drew them to this community, and how can I serve them? I'm not looking for them to necessarily serve me, but if they're there, if they took all this on, how can we serve them so they can help serve us?
So from a point of view, how can the people helping to put on Military Creator Con, you, me, James Marr, everyone else, how can we provide the best possible user experience for everyone paying tickets?
Well, again, it's when they show up and they come in the room and they talk to us, I don't want them to feel like they're less than because they didn't serve. So first and foremost, they got to feel welcomed. Then we got to find out, hey, why are you there? I like when Taylor first reached out to me, I'm like, well, why are you doing this, Taylor? What do you have to, of all the things you could do, why are you flying to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to come, talk with us? So I want to find out why they're there. And then three, I want to know what they do. And then again, how can we help them? How can they help us?
So you kind of answered this already, but like the conference ends like I think the 18th at the end of the cigar whiskey night. I think it ends like 1 a.m. So let's suppose it's like you wake up in the morning on that Sunday the 19th. What needs to happen through the conference for you to say, you know what, this was a successful conference for me, Travis Partington?
I get to meet more people. I get to understand, how my message is received by a wider audience, not only a wider audience, but an audience that plays in this space. So is the work I'm doing in TV respected? Do people find value in that? And so to go back a little bit, with the podcast, with other things I do, I'm not really worried about having millions of people like what I do, even though that'd be nice. I'm looking to interact with one person at a time. So I'm hoping to connect with at least one person who found value in what I do. Conversely, I'm interested in connecting with one person who I'm like, wow, I met that one person at MCC and they changed my perspective, they changed my life, and I wouldn't have met them if I hadn't gone to MCC. So now my perspective is blown up, my mind shift has happened. Now I want to come back to see if that happens again the next year and the next year.
So it's kind of funny, right? So another guy coming from Seattle, Barry Gibson, he's a retired Navy guy. He's going to talk about Facebook monetization. He's on a social media channel. So I asked him, like, we were smoking cigars one day. Right? I just asked, so Barry, what's your goal for the MCC? He looked me dead in my eye. First of all, not to bomb my presentation. I thought it was so funny, right? And it's true. Like we gotta fucking kill our presentation, right? We can't go up there fucking around. We gotta basically kill our presentation, Yeah,
I feel pretty confident in mine. I always get those pre-conference jitters, like, it's game time, let's go. But, I've been doing Oscar Mike Radio for a long time. I've been doing my TV show for 2 years. I understand how community access media works, so I'm pretty confident in that. So I always look at it like, hey, it's just you and me in the 5-ton. We're going back to Main Side Yuma to get chow or some new, porta potties, and we're going to haul them back to the pause and, go do it again.
So you could probably give your presentation right now off the cuff, right?
I could do it right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so with me, like I told you before pre-talk, I told you, like whenever I do this podcast, 10 minutes before the podcast starts, I always like, man, I hope Travis doesn't show up, right? Or like, man, I'm so nervous, right? All the time, right?
Is that why you're pinging me? Like, look, like every 10 minutes, hey, are you coming? Are you on your way? Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm gonna do.
That's why.
Is that why?
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. And with me, like I'm an introvert, but like I'm actually real comfortable like, talking in front of people, crowds and stuff. But one thing I've learned through all my use like public speaking, like probably like 15 minutes before I start to talk, right, I get real fucking nervous, right?
Yeah.
But the key is, if I get real nervous and like kind of scared, it goes away, and I do real well. The times I don't get nervous, I completely bomb it, right? For whatever reason, if I'm not nervous, oh shit, I'm gonna bomb this shit. Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's different. I mean, I have people that do podcasting who are great, like right now, but you put them in front of a group of people, they clam up. They I don't know why that is. It's not something that I've had to work at it to get to this level of comfort. So it's not like I just do it naturally, but I'm like, okay, I can do this right now.
One thing too, like a lot of people get on the phone, like, hey, I'm Jason, I'm blah, 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 like talk for 20 minutes. I can't do it. It takes me a lot to do that, right?
Really?
Yeah, like you see the Instagrams I've been posting about military Curticon.
Right.
Man, it takes me like 33 hours to do that 1 10-second clip, right? I mean, that's a like exaggeration, of course, but yeah, it's not my thing, right?
Sure.
But I know people like do so well on it. So,
well, let me ask you this: are you having a good time right now?
Yeah, I always have a good time.
Well, good.
It's kind of hard not to have a good time when you're drinking bourbon.
Okay, all right.
But I always have a good time with everyone. Like people always tell me, like, "What's your favorite guest?" Like I can't tell you that, right? Like I have no fucking idea. Like I've had, especially since I moved in here, I have a lot of great guests, a lot of good times. So one thing I'm proud of course, like I said, everyone wants more downloads, more views, whatever. What I'm proud of so far. Hopefully, you'll be the same way. Everyone has said, Jason, I had such a great time on your podcast, right?
That's the most important thing to me, because you can have all the downloads you want, but if your guest didn't have a good experience, then you really kind of biffed it as a podcaster, I feel.
Yeah, you do. Tell us again, what are you going to be talking about?
So I'm going to be talking about community access media, and a lot of people don't know that it's there. So, when cable really became online in the late 80s, early 90s, there was this concern that, public, over-the-air wave TV would go away completely. So there's a law that says every municipality within reason has to have a community access station.
And are you talking like PBS, or this is something different?
This is something different. Kind of the same thing, but different. So my town, Abington, Massachusetts, has community access. Seattle has a couple of community access channels. The Dallas-Fort Worth area has like 6 or 7 of them. And these are stations set up to let people come in and either for free or a training session, come in and learn how to use the equipment, or a lot of station directors would rather just do it for you so you don't break their high-end cameras and microphones. But they will help you set up a TV program, and you can record it and get it out to that station's airwaves, over the cable for like Comcast or Verizon. And all these stations put their stuff on YouTube. And the cool thing is you own what you produce. They put it out on their infrastructure, and you have your branding story right there. Now, it's not like a podcast, but the cool thing is you don't have to sit there and learn. Like, I get it. I'm looking, he has a very impressive sub here, folks, and, much respect. Game respects game, but it took you time to dial that in. Well, somebody who has a small business or just starting out doesn't have that time or money to do that. So you can go down to the community access station and start your own TV program, get somebody to help you get the camera and the lighting, the angles right, and then work on your delivery and get your message out there. You can bring guests in. And I was telling you before we got on, the same people who might not want to come on my podcast have no problem coming down to TV and being on a TV program. And because you start locally, you can get your brand out in the local community a lot easier. So if you're a business owner, it allows you a way to introduce yourself to other local business professionals.
So explain the concept behind the name Oscar Mike Radio.
Sure. So Oscar Mike Radio was started almost, the concept was almost 10 years ago to the day. And when I started Oscar Mike Radio, I was going through a very difficult time in my personal life. And I'm a lifetime member of the Marine Corps League. And one of the things that we would do is we would go and do veterans funerals and do the Marine Corps League ritual. Well, a lot of these at the time, this is when 22 a day was really getting going. We did a lot of veterans who had killed themselves. And it had an effect on me. I'm like sitting there, life is kicking my tail all over the place, Jason. And I'm like, well, what is going on? Because the real catalyst was we did a Marine Corps League ritual, and the parents come up to us and says, well, why are you guys here and my son is not? And I'm like, I got to do something. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to do a blog. I couldn't afford terrestrial radio. It's about $500 an hour on the AM spectrum where I am, but I could do a podcast. And so when I thought about the name for the podcast, the logo and the name were all combined. Like Oscar Mike we're on the move, we're on mission. And I wanted to remind myself that I'm doing this to be on the move or on mission for our veterans and those who serve us and support us. So that's where the Oscar Mike came from.
So can you go back to your very first podcast? Can you tell us about what your equipment actually was for your very first podcast?
Sure. So my equipment was a laptop, and it was a Blue Yeti Snowball microphone.
The starter microphone for podcasters.
Starter microphone, and it was terrible because I didn't realize what that microphone was actually meant to do, and I spent a lot of time on Audacity.
Microphones are different. There's dynamic, condensed. If you don't have the right one, you're kind of fucked.
Someone's dog barked, 2 doors down. It heard it perfectly. But what it forced me to do was take Audacity and make my sound better. So that was my start.
So I'm gonna talk about this. I'm doing my presentation, but like my third podcast, I was doing it. I had like a laptop, a basic microphone. I was talking to some guy. I had a pen. I clicked the pen every second for 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
And you heard the pen click more than our voices, right? And like I didn't have the heart to tell the guy, "Hey, I fucked up. Can we do it right?" So I spent literally maybe like 10,000 hours editing those clicks out right, so I could post it right. Of course, you don't see no fucking pins anywhere on my fucking desk right now, right?
Or do you like it when someone does this on the desk?
Oh no. Yeah, but it's a lot of good stories, right? And I think like people still have good equipment. I think I have like maybe $10,000 worth of equipment here, like Cavness 2000, different things. But like that's over a course like 6, 7, 8 years, right? You gotta. If you're doing a podcast, please do not buy $2,000 cameras, $500 microphones. Do the podcast right. Like on my speech, my presentation, I'm talking about like I've actually helped 33 people start podcasts. None of them are still doing it right. I even did a thing the last 4. I said, hey, the first 29 I helped, they didn't go past episode 10. I'm gonna charge you $500. If you get to episode 10, I give you money back. Those 4, I was able to keep the money. Like no one gets past episode 10 for some reason.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Podfade's a real thing. So there's 5 million podcasts on Apple. Yours and mine are in the top 10 percentile because we're consistent. And so I got asked why. I said, well, because a lot of people start podcasts for the wrong reasons, or 1, and then 2, like yours and mine, we have identified our purpose. Your podcast, your show is purpose driven right from the get-go. So is mine. That's where we have commonality, right? And if you have not identified your purpose, you're gonna fade.
Also say this, like, don't start a podcast. Like, don't do this. Don't Google top 10 podcast ideas and pick one of those and do it. Like, suppose like one of the top 10 is like making shot glasses, but you know nothing about shot glasses, right? And people do it, right?
Yeah,
they pick the top 10.
They do,
and they're done, right? And another thing too, like, don't do the interview podcast and like have a guest and you talk 90% of the time and the guest only 10%, right? That's not an interview podcast, right? Just do it on your own, right?
Right.
And too many people like want value right off the way, right? We're all not Joe Rogan, right? Too many people, oh, I started a podcast for my Joe Rogan money. People forget, like, Joe Rogan was motherfucking Joe Rogan before he started a podcast, right? He was like UFC, commentator, Fear Factor, right? Even with all that, it took him 8 years before he like figured that shit out, right?
For sure, for sure. It takes time, and if you're chasing Joe Rogan numbers, you're never going to really enjoy the craft.
No, and you got to keep in mind, like those are stats like there's like 5 million podcasts, 3 million, but one thing's consistent. Everything says only 10 to 50% of us are still like active making podcasts. Like at least, actually, like it's like once a month, right? So how many of us are actually doing podcasts once a week, right? Has been even fucking lower.
Well, I do mine once a week. I've done it for over 9.5 years now. I'm like 16 shows away from number 500, and it's still fun for me. It's still fun for me. I still enjoy it. I still there's something I'm working on right now for a veteran in Vermont that's really near and dear to me. But it's also experiences like this. Like, how cool was it that Taylor reached out to me on LinkedIn, like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, oh, Taylor's from Seattle. Then, she's like, hey, I know Jason too. And somehow, some way, we three fit, all three of us, in one day. It's really, you can't get that anywhere else.
The thing with podcasts, like people have this expectation. I do a podcast today, tomorrow, Travis is going to be my customer, right? No, it doesn't work like that. I can't tell you. Once a month I get an email from someone, hey, Jason, remember the podcast we did 2 years ago? Well, I just signed $1 million deal because of it, right? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Did they give you a little, like, a gift card or something, Jason?
They do sometimes.
Okay, I know I would.
Yeah, they do sometimes, yeah. But, I mean, yeah, you have to be patient,
Now,
right?
for real, folks, if somebody signs me to some, like, book deal or narration deal because this show, I will definitely kick in something to Jason and Taylor. She gets the finder's fee, too. I mean, we all win.
Yeah, I think you got to be patient. Opportunity's not going to happen right now. You got to think the long game, right? Like, sometimes I try to do, I get sponsors sometimes, and people are like, well, when can I expect ROI? I want something like within 2 days. Like, motherfucker, you're not getting a fucking customer, like $1,000 customer in 2 days, right?
No.
It takes time, right? But a podcast is definitely a lot of fun, right? A lot of opportunities, a lot of different people you meet, yeah. So, you've done like over 450 episodes.
I have, yes.
Have you been consistent? Like, it's once a week for the last 9 years? You take any breaks or anything?
If you look at it, even when I was hurt, it was once a week for the last 9.5 years.
So let me ask you this. So I see if you're the same way. So when I started out, I used to go on LinkedIn, like ask for like guests all the time. Now I get at least 10 like emails a day from random people, right?
Yep.
Are people reaching out to you now, like saying, hey, I want to be on a podcast?
People reach out to me, word of mouth. Prior guests will refer me to people they think I would talk to, and I'm really flattered by that. It's really humbling that someone thought enough of their experience to do the word of mouth. Those are the most powerful ones. But yeah, it's like that now. And then I don't know about you, but some people don't understand. Like I'm out till July. It's either I do 2 or 3 days a week or put the brakes on. It's really an exciting time.
And you do yours over remote and Zoom, right?
I do them in person. I can do them in person over Zoom. I prefer to do them in person if they're in the Boston area. My kit is mobile, so I can take my camera and audio and meet them there. But a lot of them are over Zoom, yeah.
So I used to do Zoom, and this is why I switched to in person, right? First, in person is so much better, right? Just more, you can see the person.
Sure.
But so I was doing Zoom, right? And it happened like 3 or 4 times where I got tired and quit. I would like be in a video with someone, I would call someone, hey, John Bob, like make sure that, quiet place your house, have the equipment, whatever. And then motherfuckers show up at fucking Starbucks or fucking phone, right? Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, right? No, we can't do an interview, right? I can barely hear you, right? I have it like 4 times, like, I'm done, yeah.
No, that's the challenging part of doing the remote ones. You just can't control the environment, and some people don't have the investment that you've had.
But these people are like, oh yeah, like we would do like a Zoom call before, like they were saying, I'm gonna do the interview here in my house. Here's the phone with my equipment, and then like 2 weeks later, they're at the fucking Starbucks. Oh, I forgot about it. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that happens, and it's either have a situation like this, which is very nice, or adjust accordingly. And sometimes, it's just like, hey, we can't do this show. It's just not going to be a good outcome.
Yeah.
And you have the power to do that.
Yeah. So why do you focus on human story of veterans versus anything else you could talk about?
Well, I've done historical veteran stories. When I do Black History Month, I talk about this history around that. I'll talk about, sometimes when a plane or sometimes aspects of my job. But to me, we serve in for the same country, same flag, 4 or 5 different branches, but everybody's story is different. Everybody has a different origin story. Everybody has a different transition story. And it's so interesting to me that someone serves in the military, maybe got out as an E2 or E4, E5 or an O1 or O2, but go on to, create a business, create a legacy that, how they do that and why they do that. And then there's some of our veterans, as you know, Jason, who have overcome insurmountable odds. Aaron Hale, who is the EOD guy who, got hit with an EOD blast and is blind and deaf, but now has his, confection business and other businesses that he's a part of. It's an amazing story. And so I want to capture what those stories are.
So back to employment real fast, right?
Sure.
So a lot of people in the military, at least when I was young, they had the attitude like, I'm a sergeant major, I'm a colonel, I'm such and such a rank. I should be VP of HR at Microsoft. I should be director of something, right? And it doesn't work like, it was crazy. Like, so I thought it was called back when I was going through it. It wasn't social life or something else, right? Like, so one negative thing about the military, at least the Army, it's the same program for everyone. Like, so I'm in the program with a colonel who's just retired that would do nothing with his life. E4 needs one to go to college. We are trying to, there's one size fit all, which doesn't, right? But, so there's all these high ranking people trying to find a job. No one can find anything. This E4, you're like, hey, good news. He got a job as a director of technology at a pretty big corporation, right? And people are like, looking like, how the fuck did E4 get this right? They didn't know that E4 had a fucking master's degree in computer science, 6 years experience before he joined the military, right? He joined the military to pay off all his college loans. And like, how does E4 get a job like that? But he didn't say, I'm specialist John Bob. I'm like, he just broke down his experience, right? And like, it was such a cool story. And you see all these colonels telling me like, how the fuck you get a job? I can get shit. What the fuck's wrong? What the fuck's wrong with this program?
So I've had a couple officers get really honest with me, and sometimes officers don't want to do that because they're officers. But a couple of them told me it was a really hard adjustment when they realized that just because they're an 05 or a lieutenant colonel that they didn't have an army of people to do stuff for them. And
oh, that was so hard for me, guy. I'm used to being a major Army, like, hey, Sergeant, do this PowerPoint for me, or create this for me, create that. My first job, like, ain't no shit like that, right? You gotta and that was a big struggle for me. I ain't gonna lie, big struggle for me.
It was a big adjustment for them, and they had to, understand that. Oh wow, that E4, they had a couple of E4s who had gotten out, and like this guy knew more about how the business worked and about how the business world worked than I did, and so it's a challenge for everybody.
So, what do you think civilians need to understand more about veterans, or what do they misunderstand about us?
Well, I think the first thing, what you see in the movies isn't exactly what you see when we're sitting in front of you. I think, again, we're not looking for, the majority of us, I'm not saying all of us, are not looking for necessarily a handout. We just want a fair shake or a hand up. We want you to get to know us and help us translate our military experience into something that can work for you. Also, it's a double-edged sword, but yes, some veterans have PTSD. Yes, some veterans are dealing with their mental health, but that doesn't make us broken. So I don't want you to think of us as broken, damaged toys that should be, discarded or pushed away, but just understand that, we are trying to have our lives the way anybody else is.
I know a lot of military veterans, they were like, hey, all these companies say they're going to hire veterans, but I can't get hired. Well, first of all, this is what Starbucks says. Well, first of all, most companies like Starbucks, Amazon, they'll say, we're going to hire 20,000 veterans in the next 5 years, right? Most don't, right? I'll give Starbucks credit. Starbucks only one who says, we say we're going to hire 20,000 veterans, we want to hire 3,000. We didn't because of these reasons, right? We're trying to get better, right? Most companies like Amazon or whatever, we'll hire 20,000 veterans, but they will send nothing else, right? But even though a company, Microsoft or Boeing or whatever the case may be, I'm saying Seattle companies, they say they're going to hire X amount of veterans, you still have to be qualified for the job, right? It's not a nonprofit, right? They're going to hire Specialist John Bob or Colonel Joe Blow for the goodness of heart, right? They want the PR from it, they want all the good part, but like, if they're hiring for like a software engineer and you don't know how to turn on a computer, you're not going to get hired, right? It's not a nonprofit.
Well, I mean, and you're right. And I tell veterans like, okay, you don't meet the qualifications, but they have this,
they have training for you.
Apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to step down. I'm like,
Microsoft has a good one here.
Well, okay, sometimes you got to take a step back and regroup before you can, go forward and accomplish the objective. You got to be willing to be coached and trained a little bit. So I hear what you're saying, and sometimes, again, it's on the veteran to look at what's available and then put themselves in position to do well.
This is another mistake I think a lot of military veterans make. I think a lot of veterans, where they're retiring, they're getting that right. I've seen it so many times, right? Like, suppose we'll say Sergeant Joe Blow, right? He's in 8 years. He decides to get out, right? And suppose he's going to get out, we'll say, like, he's going to get out, we'll say March 2027. Today's what, April 3rd.
Yeah.
First of all, most people, you lose all the money, right? And it's not, like, people say 50%, but it's actually 30% because your housing doesn't count, right?
Right.
And so today you're out, and so this, today you decide to buy a new house. Today you decide to buy a new car. But a year you won't have no job, right? And so many veterans, they put in some position like they have to take the first job they get, right? But it's not a good match for them, right? And then they had the job, they hate it, they quit, and they get this like economic downturn, right?
Well, that does happen. I mean, I had to take the first job I got when I got out. I was working for CVS and learned real quick that I hated it because nothing was worse than a 78-year-old man who wanted a certain prescription to entertain the ladies and was told that he had used all his allocation for the time period. And you're getting
time out. That guy was fucking so much, he ran over Viagra.
That's one way to put it, yes.
God damn. Shout out to him.
On one hand, game respects game. On the other hand, like, sir,
Dude, you are 78 years old. Like, slow
there's
your roll.
no more.
Like,
What do you mean?
Like, slow your roll.
What do you mean there's no more? I want to talk to the manager. So, I mean, there was that. And then, I went and applied for jobs and like, have you done anything technical? Yeah, I've worked on this high technical system. We've used laptops in the middle of the desert doing this stuff. Well, yeah, but you don't have a piece of papers from a civilian place saying you're technical. If you had one of those, then I'd hire you. And so I had to get humble. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. And I wound up going to a school put on by the New England Shelter and Home for Veterans at the time. And they had a 6-month computer course to do stuff I already knew how to do. But once I got the piece of paper, welcome aboard. It was crazy, the difference in how I was treated. And I'm like, I don't think I should have had to go to the school in the first place. I didn't learn anything new. I just had a piece of paper saying I knew stuff.
Here's a good story for you. So when I got in the military, I retired, right? Had an interview like one of the top corporations here, right? I felt good about it, but networked with them or whatever. And so I had a phone interview with the recruiter, right? And the first thing the recruiter said, hey, Jason, I know this is supposed to be an interview for this position, but you actually want to talk about another one below it. I said, well, can I ask you why it's one below? Well, Jason, because the one you applied for, we accepted, you would have five direct reports. I was like, I'm a major, I have like 20 reports, blah, blah, blah stuff. Jason, you understand that? But we know the military, y'all just help people what to do and don't accept feedback. At our company, we have people give us feedback and owners that we fit. Like, this ain't gonna be a match. Like, you have no idea what the fuck we do in the military, right? So I said, this is not a match, yeah.
It's a different world, and they have different rules. There are things that we did in the Marine Corps that, I mean, like our corporals made us fill sandbags when they got mad at us. I can't do that as much as I'd like to sometimes to get the point across, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, no doubt. So if veterans getting out right now, suppose the veterans getting out like in 6 months, what would you tell them to do or not to do?
Start now. Don't wait till your transition class to start worrying about what you're going to do in the future. Get your LinkedIn going. Talk to your parents, your friends. Start letting them know that, hey, this is what I did, and start understanding where you can fit in. Maybe that person you went to high school with who has a business can tell you, hey, you know what, your resume fits here and there. Take advantage of every opportunity. And there's this thing called ChatGTP. It's not perfect, but it will kind of give you a plan of how you should approach things. And Jason, you and I both know there's tons of free resources of people that want to give veterans jobs. Swallow some pride, understand you gotta be coachable and take advantage of it.
So what's like your perfect podcast guest?
What's my perfect podcast guest? I don't have a perfect podcast guest because, I just don't think that exists. That's just my opinion. But I'm going to tell you what I love for the podcast experience from a guest. So the guest could be anybody, male, female, gay, lesbian, trans, I don't care. And they had something happen to them or they went through the military experience and they're able to talk to me very authentically and candidly about that experience. And they're able to get people to relate to what they went through. and people connect, and I connect with their experience, and it becomes something more than just a simple conversation. That's when it's like, yes, this was all worth it, and I'm having a great time.
And how long are your podcasts?
Typically anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so like you talk to a lot of different people, different subjects, but what's one podcast you had like you're like I kind of broke your heart, like, man, like I've heard some sad stuff like this one, like really like, oh man, like I need to do something to help this person out.
So this is recent, but this answers your question. I'm talking to her cousin this Sunday, but I talked to Courtney Millett last Sunday, and her brother JJ is on charges of domestic terrorism, Jason. So what happened was he served in the National Guard, got out in 2010, 2015-ish, and has depression, PTSD issues. And in January, he's receiving VA care, so he's rated. And in January, he got his meds changed because they tuned the meds, I guess, for his depression. And he started going downhill and having suicidal ideations. And February 19th of this year, he called the 988 crisis line saying, hey, I want to kill myself and I want to hurt people. I'm not right. I need help. The 988 people got him in touch with the Vermont State.
What's that again? The 988 program?
The 988 crisis line.
What is that?
It's a number, 988. You dial it on your phone right now, and you'll get an operator that will walk you through, what your situation is. It's for civilians and veterans. They have a veteran arm of that too. And that line got him connected to the Vermont State Police. They heard what he had to say. They said, hey, we want you to come down and turn yourself in. So JJ went to the Vermont State Police, turned himself in, surrendered his firearm, his pocket knife he had, and they took him back to VA care. 3 days later, the Vermont State Police was going to let him go. But instead, the Essex County, Vermont prosecutor said, we're going to charge him with domestic terrorism.
But he didn't do nothing, though, right?
In my mind,
he said he's going to do it.
Yes, but he did not do anything. He called for help. He asked for help. He got help. He's with his sister now. He did everything right.
That sends us a wrong message.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is what his sister, his cousin works for the Department of Homeland Security and is a professor at University of Albany, New York. It's like talking about how this sets a bad precedence.
So this is a bad precedent.
So I got asked to help out with this. I'm helping with this, but this breaks my heart that this 38-year-old veteran who was trying to get help is now looking at, and if you look at the law says if you get charged with this is a 20-year hitch. He'll be 58, 59 years old by the time he gets out of jail if this goes through. And so his lawyers are trying to get it dismissed outright, but the judge is allowing the charges to go forward. So now the family is like, look, what can we do to get people aware of
this? Is in Vermont.
This is in Vermont.
Is Vermont like Texas? Is like Texas, Georgia, South, and like pro-military? How about Vermont? Is that
Vermont actually? Now they're kind of like Seattle is and progressive. Mm-hmm. But where Vermont differs is Vermont has a very deep love for their veterans and military.
Okay.
And so it's really weird. Derby, Vermont is like 4,500 people population, but the entire town is starting to come out for JJ. And it's really got me in the heartstrings because I'm like, this is a sister, an aunt, and a cousin who don't want their family member to be railroaded and go to jail, who are reaching out to people for help, trying to understand how the law works, asking for, they went to Senator Sanders in Vermont, and Bernie Sanders is like, hey, I'm not in the judicial branch, right? But you have our support. The VFW has come out for support, but to me, this shouldn't have happened. This should have been like a happy story of somebody who was going to kill themselves, said, I want to kill myself.
And he did the right thing. So
called the number. The state police didn't send a SWAT team there. They got him to come in very quietly, de-escalate the situation, got him to turn over everything. He's alive right now. This should be a happy story, and it's not. And it really bothers me.
Is it like one specific prosecuting attorney that's pushing this? Like, is like one person behind this?
There was an attorney, Farzana Levia is her name, who brought the charges forward. She For
Did she
whatever,
say why she's doing this?
no, I haven't heard a lot, and the news media has been pro for the prosecution, not really letting the other side tell their story. For example, they were told that JJ had manifestos. Well, no, he didn't have manifestos. He had journals, because if you're in VA care for therapy, they want you to journal what your progress is. I mean, I'm not in VA. I receive VA care physically, and they want me to journal my leg stuff.
Same here, yeah.
Right. So they got those journals and called it a manifesto, and they weren't. They weren't.
So how can people help out?
So right now, there is a list of things that the cousin wants to do, and the family is trying to get people to tell the story. So I said, hey, I'm going to help you tell the story. I had his sister on last Sunday. I'm having his cousin on this week, and we're going to have the aunt on and the VFW, and then we're starting to engage with people at the state level and the national level. Like, to me, this is something that Secretary Collins should take a look at. His VA changed this guy's meds. They should be, helping the family out and make the case as to what happened.
So I have to make sure I say the right words, because sometimes so little live streaming words. Sometimes if you say the wrong word, you get banned or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about the military final solution, right?
Yeah.
This is my thing, right? And I could be wrong, right? I just think if someone in their mind says they're going to do it right, there's nothing you do to stop it, right? If someone's
100%.
If someone says on December 3rd, 2025, 2027, it's a wrap for me, I don't think there's anything you can do, right?
Yeah.
You can have all the programs you want, all the things you do, but if someone's down such a dark path, and everyone has a dark path, but I don't think there's anything to do. All the programs are good, all the stuff is good. I just think I don't know, right? I know it's a bad attitude to have, but I just how do you overcome that, right? How do you keep people? How do you everyone has bad days, but how do you say, hey, today's a bad day, but tomorrow, if you're not there tomorrow, you have this great opportunity, right? Or you might have to send a sent tomorrow. Or you might meet your future wife tomorrow. But how do you get people out of that darkness, And everyone goes through it, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my other experience with this was there was a veteran in my area who drove to the West Roxbury VA and told people, hey, I'm going to kill myself. And they tried for 4.5 hours to keep this guy alive.
You can't watch him 24/7. Eventually, if you do, you got to go to sleep.
Well, he sat in his truck and killed. He killed himself because that's what he wanted to do. To your point, but in this case, JJ wanted to stay alive. He wanted help. He asked for help. He didn't act on any of the things that he said or wrote down. He realized he was in a bad state and asked for help. And we finally, all the things worked, except for this to me, this miscarriage of justice. And so we have the 22 a day. The numbers haven't really changed in the last 10 years. The VA put out a report that it might be 19, 20 a day, but it's not been, for all the money, time, and effort's been spent. We still have a lot of veterans doing this to themselves.
I've got to be glad for this, but obviously even one is a bad number, but 22 a day, that's a bad number, right? There's millions of veterans, right? 22 a day, it's a bad number. It's not it's 3,000 a day, right?
For sure.
It's still 22 a day, 22 lives that don't need to be lost, but maybe some of these programs do need to get credit for what they're doing, right?
Well, that's why I'm wow, the 988 crisis line finally worked. They had one that actually called for help. They escalated to the law enforcement the right way. Law enforcement didn't treat him like an imminent danger. They de-escalated the situation, got him he drove to the Vermont State Police Barracks and turned himself in. That doesn't happen. You and I both know that if a veteran wanted to harm themselves, they just would have done it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this all worked. And I wanted to see that aspect of it credited, what the Vermont State Police did and what the 988 people did to keep this guy with us.
Talk about this, right? You have all these programs the phone numbers, the people say, hey, you see a post Facebook, LinkedIn all the time, hey, so-and-so just got rid of himself, right? If you have problems, come call me, come talk to me, right? But the fact of the matter is, right, if you're going through shit, who can you really call? Who really call? Are you gonna tell your wife? No, you're gonna call Travis. I don't bother Travis. I think this is mentality most people have. I have to fix myself. If I call this person, I seem weak. If I call this person, does it make any sense?
Well, I think the one thing before that is, who do you call? There's this aspect of these file solutions where the person was lonely and isolated. And I can send this to you tomorrow when I find it, because I have it saved. The VA did a study about how loneliness is a precursor to this kind of activity. So it might not be me or you, but if I know that I've got people checking in on me and I've got some place to be, whether it's for a coffee or a video game or just hanging out, having some drinks over a combo like this, that might do more. You might not know about it. I might not know about it, but that might do more to keep somebody with us than saying, you know what, I have no value, I'm just going to end it.
And something as simple as walking down the street and telling someone, hey, how you doing? I mean, you just don't know, you might just break them in the fucking fog right then. You just don't know what your actions and stuff, how's it going to affect other people.
Right.
So I'm going to take a break. I don't want to take a break. I want to do something different. I want to have you two talk to each other real fast, right?
Okay.
This is so fun. I am not a professional podcaster.
Well, you are
two.
now.
No, I love it. I guess one thing I kind of wanted to mention just while we were talking and while you two were talking about the civilian stuff, I guess that's kind of where I can kind of pitch in and help a little bit, because I am a civilian. I've never served in the military. I have a lot of family that did, but I personally haven't. And I just think as a civilian, it's just so much more important to us to see what you guys are doing. And so going back to Military Creator Con, like, I hope there are a lot of civilians that show up, because, you know, we're not in the thick of it. We've never done any of this stuff. We've never been in that. But we do get to reap the benefits every single day of having a safe country, of having a free country. And it's just something that is so important to America. So I really appreciate it. And I think that's a big reason why this conference could be helpful for other civilians.
What are you looking to get from this conference?
Well, I just love the military community, and geofencing is a military technology, so I think that's kind of where I fit in. But I really just wanted to meet more people that are in this community, and it's really cool because I love entrepreneurs. I love the military community, so it's a very interesting intersection of those two. So I just want to learn more about people, and if that ends up being business down the road for me or business down the road for them, then I'm really happy for that too.
Nice. I mean, again, how cool is this? Just a simple LinkedIn message got us all three in one room before the conference.
That's crazy. And you two are both professional podcasters. Like, this is just very cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So the conference is Military Creator Con, right?
It is.
What is a creator? What's your definition of a creator?
A creator, to me, tries to take nothing and turn it into something. So at one time, this blanket that I'm crocheting was nothing, or a piece of string, and now it's something, right? A creator is somebody who says, you know what, I have an idea, and I can't touch the idea. I can't put my hand on what you are doing right now, Jason, but you've created a space, you created an experience, you created an outcome that I can partake in and appreciate and gain from.
So, personal opinion, I think a lot of creators suck at business. A lot of business people suck at creative. How can someone like do both and be like monetized being a creator and a business person?
I think you got to get trained. I think it's very easy for someone to be a creator and not understand how the financial aspect of what they do works. I think it's very easy for the business person to not appreciate what it takes for that creator to do what they do. So it's things like Military Creator Con are going to teach you what's going on. I certainly had to go back to the drawing board and learn, business 101 when it comes to, okay, how am I going to take what I do and make money out of it? And what's that going to require? Well, it understands that, time is literally money. My talent has an intrinsic monetary value, and how do I maximize that? And I had to learn all that.
Is there something like creative that you want to learn, like guitar playing or pottery or anything else? Like you want to learn to be creative in that junction thing?
I've got a bass guitar that I've been playing around with. I'd like to learn how to play that.
So
and you like bonuses. Yeah. People have been bugging me about singing. So I'm going to try to cut a Christmas album this year. I'm serious.
Nice. Talk about the power of storytelling with your podcast.
Sure. It's all about the story. I taught a podcast class last year when I was doing it. I talked about the cave painting where, somewhere, somehow, somebody went out with a spear and got themselves looks like a woolly mammoth, right? And brought it back home, and he literally brought home the bacon, right? And maybe his wife and kids were so proud of him that they daubed their finger in some kind of dye or whatever and painted on the walls. And it looks like that clan, that tribe, that family ate good that day, and they were so happy they just decided to put it on the side of this cave. And 10, 15,000 years later, we're still talking about it. We're still talking about it. Think about Aesop's fables and things like that, or Dr. Seuss. It's all about the story and what the story represents. And I think for me as a podcaster, I look at it as, I don't know if I'm a storyteller in the strictest sense of the word. I'm more or less a guide. I'm taking that person, when they sit down and talk with me, I'm taking them through their experience to share with us what they've been through.
So how do you approach talking to people about sensitive subjects on the podcast?
I'm going to meet them where they are. I'm going to, before I hit record, when it's a sensitive subject, it's like, hey, I appreciate the amount of trust you're putting in me to be vulnerable, to allow me to not only talk about this, but record it and put it out there for the whole world to see. And so I want you to know that in this time that we're together, you're safe with me. And if there's something that you don't like or something you want to change or something that you don't want to go down, we won't go that. But I want you to know that you're safe with me. And so I try to really let them know emotionally that this is not just a assembly line thing. Like I'm in it with them. And I want to feel or try to feel what they're feeling.
Travis, so how do you keep from getting too emotionally involved with your guests' stories?
Sometimes it's really easy, like this J.J. Millett thing is not, because I think it affects more than just JJ and his family. It has potential to affect every veteran, every person seeking health care in the United States. But at the end of the day, I realize that this is just a story. This is just a block of time I'm with this person. And when that time is over, then that time is over. I can kind of turn on, turn off.
So you've done cybersecurity for 25 years, right?
Not 25 years, but over almost 2 decades, yes.
Okay. So what is cybersecurity? I think people think cybersecurity passwords, like, secret spy stuff, but what actually is cybersecurity?
Well, it's a whole bunch of things. That's the thing that's gotten really, when I first started, it was just a very basic, like, secure your network space and all that. But now it's gotten very specialized. There's phishing, there's, ransomware, AI security, so on and so forth, development security. So in simplest terms, it's about taking information security or things on the internet and making it as secure as possible.
And so, but you did not do this as a Marine, right?
No, I did not.
So talk about the transition from Marines, missiles, what you were doing to cybersecurity.
Well, sure. I got out of the Marine Corps. I went to that class to be told that I was actually technical. Had to get the civilian piece of paper. Yay! And then I got a job, and I was a help desk technician. I was working on PCs. Replacing hard drives, RAM, motherboards, installing operating systems and troubleshooting software, connecting to a mainframe server, that kind of thing. And then one day, this person at my, employer is like, hey, I got this thing called InfoSec. I think you might be a good fit. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about InfoSec. He's like, well, I know that, but I think you'd be a good fit. And I'm like, well, if I can figure out how to fire a missile at an airplane 40 miles away, I can figure out this. So, I just jumped in with both feet and never looked back.
So why do you think so many small business owners to this day kind of blow off cybersecurity? Like, oh, I only have 10 people. That's not for me. It's not important. I don't have the money for it. Blah, 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 blah.
You ask a question that's very near and dear to my heart, Jason, that I love answering. It's because a lot of these small business owners think, well, I'm just a small business owner. Nobody's going to want to get me. I don't have a whole lot to take, so they're not going to worry about me. So, and it costs money. It takes time. So I'm not going to focus on that. And what I try to tell people is like, there are entities out there that say, you know what, I don't want to take, $10 million from one company. I want to take $1 from 10 million people. And if I can do that, every month, every quarter, I've got recurring revenue all the time. So you also, I tell small business owners, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients and to your employees to make sure your data and their data is safe as it can be. That's a responsibility you have. So it's a challenge, but we're meeting that.
Is there a country that's like has the most best hackers? Like you hear like Ukraine, Poland, these third countries like have like all these cybersecurity hackers like just hacking the hell out of the United States. Is that true or is that made up?
That's true to a point. Although I would tell people the United States has some pretty darn good hackers themselves. We're just not as vocal about it for whatever reason. A lot of them are working for those three-letter agencies and have been identified early. But yeah, North Korea has theirs. The Slavic countries have theirs. You have people with a lot of time on their hands who are smart, educated. You're not going to take rob a bank in the traditional way anymore. You can rob a bank from your desktop with your slippers on or your Crocs, listening to your favorite Taylor Swift album while you're doing it.
So let's suppose this shot glass company gets hacked. Is there a law that says this shot glass company has to make it public they've been hacked?
It depends on the industry. If you're a private industry not regulated, no. But if you're a regulated industry like healthcare, like the financial industry or the insurance, yeah, you have to disclose.
That's my concern, right? Like how many companies out there got hacked and they make decisions, you know what? We're a small company. If we tell everyone we get hacked, it'd be bad publicity for us. Just let's hide it and no one knows. But yet then our data is like all over the place, right? That's my concern with the hacking stuff.
It's a very valid concern. It's a very valid concern. It's something that is taken into consideration for when a target is attacked. And that's why a lot of times you can attack a target and it can be months or even years before it really becomes to the fore because no one wants to say anything. Whereas if you said something, you'd understand what you did to improve your security and you'd offer a better outcome to your customers and your employees.
So my opinion, privacy is a long gone concept, right? But like we give our data to everyone, right? Who does data really belong to? Does our data still belong to us no matter who we give it to? Or once we give it up freely to like a company, belongs to a company, like who technically should own the data? Who should profit from the data?
Oh, I chuckle. A lot of people like Google Docs and Microsoft has their online stuff. And I'm like, well, the minute you take that file and put it on a Google server or an Amazon server or a Microsoft server, yeah, you have it. But if you read the fine print, they can see that document at any time. It's yours, but it's not. It's theirs, but it's not. Unless you have your own like network attached storage system for your files and folders, that's yours. But the minute you put on somebody else's platform, it's not really yours. You just have it there.
This is my thing. I know it's never happened. Like, suppose you put your data on Facebook, right? And Mark Zuckerberg sells your data to someone else, right?
Well, he's doing it right now.
Like, I should get a percentage of that shit, right?
Well,
I should get a percent. Maybe not I'm saying 9%, maybe 5-10% of my data that you make a profit off, like give it back to me some kind of way. I know that will never happen.
I think you bring up a good point. I've been kind of, like, wait a minute. He has all kinds of data points about every user who's on his platform, and he's clearly making money off of it, which is why it's free. It's either got to be one day where you get your cut of that if he's making money off of it, or he starts charging for it. I'd almost rather pay for Facebook and get some picture I put on there, got me money. Well, great. I mean, I know you can monetize Facebook, but that's not the same. It's not the same. You're still creating the content and it still marks.
And it kills me this day. Like, you have people like pick the social media platform. This social media platform sucks so much. Why am I getting these ads for this and this, blah, blah, blah. And then next day, hey, I'm going so-and-so to the grocery store buy toothpaste. And they complain the next day when I get an ad for toothpaste, right? I mean, that kind of simplistic attitude right there, but...
Where's geofencing fit into there?
It's crazy because all the data that's through Apple, through Google, like all this data is all for sale. And so that's a big part of what we use in geofencing is like Yeah, I mean, we have very good demographics. We use the U.S. Census Bureau, but also all this data is for sale. Like even when you use Siri, your phone's always on. So like you can, Apple has that data stored in there. And it's funny because people always say like, "Oh, I just talked about something and now it's all over my feed as an ad," and it's like, huh,
I wonder
yeah,
how
it
that
is.
happened.
But it's not a folklore. It really all that data is just stored in there, and people like me profit off of it by using it to enrich the ads of my clients.
Data, data, data. I mean, it's a world we live in, right? Privacy's pretty much dead unless you like turn your phone off.
Turn your phone off and go back to the old days of floppy disk and no dial-up internet. Sure.
And then like people don't realize like on Snapchat, this thing called Snap Maps on Snapchat where you like say tell you where you're at. If you can turn it off, like people just track you all the time. Instagram's gonna bring a map out where you track your at all the time. Like one thing, like if you're a criminal now, like suppose you're a criminal, like you kill 3 or 4 people. There's no way to get away from the crime because it's to go to your fucking Google phone, whatever. Yeah, you are here, you're here, you're here. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, or like you see sometimes like someone will get an ad, like I got an ad for, like AARP. I'm only 25 years old. Yeah, but your phone heard your uncle who's 65 talk about something, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? It was even crazier. How many people don't realize this is happening, right? Like some people have no freaking clue.
Well, I laughed out loud during the Super Bowl when the Ring camera or something like
Yes,
it was like, "Hey, we're all networked now." I'm like, no, I don't want to be in an array with all my neighbors.
No.
Right? I mean, and I'm like, okay, if Amazon has that because that's who owns Ring. Then, if the FBI asks them for, their video records, Alexa has been used in divorce all the time.
Yep.
So you can either be unplugged out of the matrix or plugged all the way in.
So what habits from being a Marine still show up in your everyday life?
Marines I served with or just Marines in general?
Just your experience of Marines itself. Like how do you experience the Marines still show up every day in your everyday life?
Well, I don't have a lot of Marines in my everyday life. I used to have a lot of coworkers that were.
What I mean, like, so the skills you learn in the Marines.
Oh.
Like how does that affect your everyday life?
Well, again, I go back to my injury, and I go back to some of my professional career. Like again, I didn't know anything about cybersecurity, so I had to learn it. I didn't know if I was going to be able. I had to learn how to walk again, Jason. There was a time in my life where I couldn't walk, and like, how's this going to work? And okay, well, in the Marine Corps, we took a problem, we stripped it down to its parts, and then we attacked each problem until we got better at it, and then we just didn't quit. We just didn't quit.
So back to cybersecurity, does that multi-factor stuff actually work? Multi-factor authorization or something like that?
Multi-factor authentication? Yeah. Certainly does. To me, MFA is a requirement for almost anything now, and I get very worried when I see a system that doesn't have it. And, it's something you have, something you know, something you are. That's the basic tenets of MFA. And to me, if you have a password and it asks you for a code on your phone or to answer a question, or you have a certificate or some kind of other hardware MFA device, yay.
So there's a small business owner out there. They have no cybersecurity at all, none at all. What's the one thing you would say, hey, you do this like today?
So for any small business owner, I would tell them, to put all their efforts, now into their email security. Email is still the primary vector for cyber threats, ransomware threats, and phishing threats.
Is it true the number one password to use is password?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Or maybe your first name, or maybe your birthday.
First name, kids' name, Johnny, Mary, Susie. 3. Yeah, it's still a problem.
let me ask you this. It's something that I need to get better at, right? I use a bit wording from a password manager, but a lot of times I'll just put like, I use the same like 2 or 3 passwords for everything, right? It's like these 3 things and 4 numbers, right?
Come on, you know the answer, Jason.
I know.
You're not making me happy.
My thing is like, it's just so easy to put these things like I have like it'll be the name of something and like four digits or 4 different codes or whatever for everything, right? I know I shouldn't do it. It's just, yeah. How much of a risk am I putting myself in? It's not like from my bank account, nothing secret or whatever. It's like just like bullshit, like, you know.
Well, still, I mean,
I didn't do better.
You can do better.
Okay.
You can go and get a password generator to generate you a complex password, then put it in your password manager.
But it sounds so fucked up. Sometimes I'm so lazy, like 1 second to do a password generator.
I mean, there's the L word right there, ladies and gentlemen. And lazy leads to what? Lazy leads to losing. It does.
Yeah, but so many people like have like the same password, or they have the password as a password.
The human being's the greatest impediment to security.
Yeah. What do you see the future of cybersecurity?
It's only going to become more integrated in our daily lives as everything. And I'm not a big fan of software as a service tools and cloud in general, but as more and more of our daily lives are put into the cloud, it's just going to be something like from the time a child is 2 or 3 years old, they're going to understand how to do MFA. They're going to have, their password is going to be like their SS number followed by something that they have, like the color of their eyes. It's just going to be more and more ingrained.
Is cybersecurity a good career field for people to try to get into?
I believe so. I've had a very good outcome with it. There's several different things you can do in cyber now. It's not all in one. It's very specialized. And so I look at it like this. If you can understand, especially for military veterans, if you can understand security concepts and why, and risk around security and how to mitigate risk, you're going to have a good time in cyber.
Do you fear AI is going to take your job?
No.
Why not?
Because there's still the human aspect of being able to look at certain data sets, certain problems, and make a human determination about whether or not that is risky or not. The AI, I'm not saying it won't ever take my job, but I think it's a lot longer than people think.
What are some what's a big, like the number one cybersecurity myth out there?
Well, it's just like Mr. Robot. You can sit down with your laptop right there and hack into NASA or the stock exchange. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a long, drawn out change to process a cyber attack, and when that attack has finally happened, they have really researched their victim and what they're going to do. Let
me ask you this: like, suppose there's a guy out there. He's like the top 10 hacker in the world. Right? He can hack anything, right?
Yeah.
If he was to turn his power into good, what could he actually contribute to society?
Any number of things. It's just, again, it's cheaper to sit there in your house and hack a bank and make money that way than it is to go out there and make like water recycling systems, power systems and stuff like that. They're going to benefit humanity.
So I think these hackers, a lot of them have this stereotype, like they're like bad people, lazy, like antisocial, but you have to be like pretty like kind of challenged to like do what they're doing, right? You can't be a dummy, I don't think.
You're not a dummy. You're just, you don't fit into a certain peg that people want you to fit into. You don't fit a certain archetype people want you to fit into. And so you do hacking as a way to, validate your expertise. And, maybe you're just bored. A lot of hackers are bored. They're very smart, intelligent people, to your point, and they don't have any real challenge in front of them. So this fills that need.
So cybersecurity, right? AI is going to take it over. Like, what's the? You don't might know this. What's the growth pattern for cybersecurity in the future? Like 10,000 jobs a year, 20,000 jobs a year. It's like.
What do you mean?
Like if we say 2027, there'll be like 10,000 new cybersecurity jobs in the cybersecurity field.
I don't know what the number is. I'm not going to sit there and make a guess, but I will say it's increasing. There's just not enough professionals for the need from a federal level. We are lacking in that regard. From what businesses need and then what individuals need, the need's there. It's only going to grow.
So like in the tech world, there's like junior developers, mid-level developers, senior developers, then like senior VPs, CTOs, VP, whatever. how's that progression goes to cybersecurity? Like, it's like junior cybersecurity people, cybersecurity analysts. Like, how's that career path go?
Well, you'll pick what part of cyber you want to be in. I mean, there's several different ones. There's application security, there's email security, server security, endpoint security, network security, traffic security, and then you'll start a role there. Probably, I would tell you, you're going to want to get an apprenticeship somewhere or a co-op somewhere and see what you do. And I tell people, look, you need to start building your own little networks. Virtualize some servers and understand how that works, and then you'll start going to the role you want to be in, and then work in that role until you get some competence, and then eventually you can either expand into management or be an individual contributor and work on your respective craft.
Do you need some type of certification to do cybersecurity?
It helps, but a lot of people that I meet aren't certified. They just have been working in here, and they know how to either combat the vulnerability or create vulnerabilities.
So the certification, once you get it, you keep it for life. You have to redo it every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, the one I'm going for now, I'm going to have to every 3 years recertify, and that's just part of the game.
So how do you keep up to date with all the stuff that's going on in cybersecurity?
It's very difficult, which is why it's become so specialized. There's just, I get, when someone tells you, oh, I'm an expert, I get very nervous because you just can't.
Dude, I'm so fucking way. Whenever someone says I'm an expert, I'm like, I immediately think, no, you're not.
No,
you're not.
No, I won't tell you I'm an expert. There's just too much new stuff coming out every day. So, there's a very small sliver of the whole cyber field that I know a lot about. But still, I mean, there for every one of me, there's 100 people out there trying to create more problems.
So suppose someone's a cybersecurity person at a company with 100 people, and someone else is a cybersecurity person at a company with 10,000.
Yeah.
Is cybersecurity or is it different based on the company?
It's going to be different. It's going to be different. The scale is different. The amount of work you have to do is different. The budget you have is going to be different, and what's going to be required is different.
So let's suppose someone graduated college. Actually, they say they have a master's degree in cybersecurity from a top-notch college, right? Do you recommend they go to like a big-ass corporation like Boeing, Amazon, McDonald's, or kind of go maybe like a smaller company?
I preach, I think you should go to a smaller company because you're gonna be exposed to more technology there in terms of what they have available. You're gonna have to make more decisions. You're going to be seen as a subject matter expert at a lower level than if you join a bigger company. You're going to be pigeonholed into one role, and that's all you're going to do.
So what's something about cybersecurity you're like some kind of myth, some kind of stereotype, some kind of thing everyone does cybersecurity, you're like, please stop this. This is like madness. Let's stop doing this.
The passwords.
Passwords?
Yeah. The passwords are a big pet peeve of mine.
Okay.
Another thing that really irritates me is when people, both for personal and professional, don't keep their software updated.
How important is that? Because I'm a big thing about it. Every time I see a day, I do it right. But why do you think? My first question: why is this so important? Why do some people blow it off? Just laziness again?
Well, it's laziness, Jason. It's laziness. People don't want to do it, but I'm like, well, you got to do it. There are fixes and updates in there that keep you safe and keep you functioning. And if it's your business and your clients' information, data, and money, you have to.
So there's those Google, Safari, Firefox, all these different browsers. Are they pretty much all equally cybersecurity safe, or is one better than the other?
5 years ago, I would say there would be some that would be more safe than others. Now they're pretty much all the same. My only thing is you need to be aware that if you use an Apple device, their patch cycle isn't as aggressive as Microsoft's or Google's.
Okay. Are there colleges that are known for having really good cybersecurity degrees?
Yeah. There are. Drexel is a great example of a college
that's out of Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
I would never thought you would say Drexel. To be honest with you, to me, it's so fucking random. You said Drexel.
No, it's not.
Was it good?
Drexel's good. Honestly, too, if you're in the military and like if you went into the Navy especially or the Air Force and did cyber there, you're just as good as your civilian counterparts, if not better. So those are good. Stanford has a good cybersecurity program. So they're out there, yeah.
So next to this, suppose, I think I know the answer, but suppose someone gets a master's degree in cybersecurity from Stanford.
Yep.
And someone else just has 6 years just doing cybersecurity. Would one be a better hire?
I'm going to hire the experience every time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's a lot of disagreement over that. You know, some people tell me I'm completely wrong, but I don't care. When I have somebody that's actually done the job, or somebody who has a background building servers, building database servers, making them talk to each other, and has done that real time, dealt with vendor contracts, dealt with audits, dealt with compliance reviews, versus somebody who hasn't, and it's the exact same money and the exact same role, I'm going to take experience every time.
Let's suppose you start your own cybersecurity company, right? Doing whatever, right? And someone applies for a job. How do they prove to you that they know what's on the? How do they prove to you like they know cybersecurity?
I'm just going to ask them the basics. You know, it doesn't take that long to figure out what they know and what they don't know, what they learned out of a textbook versus what they learned in experience. You know, I'm going to ask them, well, hey, how'd your last audit go? Well, I haven't done an audit yet. Well, okay, you've been in the field for 10 years and you've never done an audit. No, that's a big, you haven't done it then until you've gone through an audit, whether it's an external audit or internal audit. So that's a big tell right there. I'm going to ask them, have you ever built a PC? Have you built a server? No, I never have. Well, then how do you understand what, you know, a domain admin does versus one who doesn't? How do you understand group policy? What kind of logging do you do? How do you handle RHEL logs versus Windows logs? You know, what do you think about endpoint protection? All that stuff.
Can someone who's not technical learn to be technical?
Yes, you have to work at it though. You got to put the reps in.
You can't be lazy.
No, it doesn't work that way. It's not like I just wake up like, I'm technical now. It just doesn't happen.
So, as a cybersecurity person, is it easier or better, or do you prefer to work somewhere technical or somewhere non-technical? Or does that matter?
What I prefer to work with is someone who's, one, a good person, and two, a good communicator. Mm-hmm. This is the aspect I think that's missed a lot in my field is you can be a technical zero or technical hero, but if you can't communicate your position or why, hey, we're trying to address this risk, right? If you can't articulate that to people above and below you, especially the senior management, you're not going to get very far. You're going to make my job a lot harder than it has to be.
So you might not answer this question, but like, do you think most of the cybersecurity expertise in the United States is in the civilian world or the U.S. government?
Well, just based on, you know, user base, it's going to be the civilian world.
Okay. That's kind of a scary answer, to be honest with you.
Well,
hopefully it's the United States government, I would think.
Well, I mean, there's only so much the U.S. government's protecting, whereas if some of these, like J.P. Morgan Chase, you know, Blackstone, have a lot more attack surface area than some of our. Now, granted, like our nuclear NORAD is a high-risk target, absolutely. But in terms of total users.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, total, you know, financial thing. That's not really a technical term, but in financial damage, a bank is going to be something that you're going to, you know, spend a lot of time, effort, and money on.
So if you had to pick one thing in the world to never get hacked because it'd be too dangerous or it'd be like implications like dire, right? What's the one thing you would think, man, I hope this never gets hacked?
For me, right now, it's a combination of our power and water infrastructure.
You know what? People don't realize how like what's the word looking for? Like how vulnerable those things are, right? Can you drive down the highway all the time? You see like all these power grids everywhere, nothing's protected, right? Just like it'd be so easy to fucking fuck that shit up.
It's built on old technology with old software that hasn't been updated in a while. You can, you know, our water systems, you can compromise those. That's what worries me, because once the power grid goes down and the water's impacted, then the populace really suffers very quickly.
So this just popped in my head, right? It's crazy how my mind operates. This happened like 10 years ago, right? And so in Portland, Oregon, all the water is like one source, right? It's this big like 1,000-gallon pool of water, right? All the water goes there, right? This dude went up there, nothing, where he just walked up there and pissed in the water. And he videotaped it and sent it to all the news people, right? No. And like all the water fucking, of course, there's one dude pissing like for 5 minutes in like hundreds of gallons of water. And of course, everyone overreacted, you know, like they got rid of the water's further to Portland, right? But like, as a dude just walk up and piss in your water, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's a, you know, example of, you know, poor physical security, I guess. Interesting. Although, I mean, we would pull water out of the canals in the desert, purify it, and drink it. So, is it a complete loss? I mean, we were talking about this the other day.
They definitely overreacted, right? They definitely overreacted.
I mean, there's an acceptable amount of bugs that can be in your food. I mean, at any given time. I mean, there's a threshold there.
Here's one for you. Like, people don't do it now, but like back in the day, people like drink water out of the rivers.
Yeah.
You're drinking like fish piss, cow piss, all kind of things, piss in the river, You never thought about it back then.
I grew up on a farm. I can't believe I did some of the things I did now.
Good old country living.
Yeah.
So you grew up on a farm in the country?
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer the country lives the best living there is.
Well, I mean, we grew our own beef and we, had our own eggs, and buck tasted pretty good.
No doubt. So when do you think you're going to be finished with this blanket you're making?
Probably next weekend.
They take that long?
Maybe not, because I'm on the downhill stretch of this, but I'm moving along pretty good now. It goes faster. It doesn't get bigger. It gets smaller now with each row. So next week, tops.
How many times have you stabbed yourself?
I don't really know, because I don't really... This is not like a crochet knitting hook, a knitting needle, excuse me. This is just a hook, so it's blunt. I mean, I could use it for a weapon, I guess. I could, but...
So why green for your color?
Well, I got different colors. I got green, gray, and black, but this just is a cool green. This is made by an American company, authentically American, out of Nashville, Tennessee.
I know that company, yeah. I know them.
Yeah. So he made it for me, and it looks... I like the way it looks, and I don't know about you, Jason, but, when women tell me it looks good, I'm like, okay, that, bonus.
So what's your goal for your podcast?
What's my goal for my podcast? Like I've said before, on several places, my goal is when I hit upload for the last time, whatever that is, hopefully a long time, my goal is to know that I had a positive impact on one person's life. And if I was able to take what I did here and help someone change their lives or improve their life or improve other people's lives, then that's the goal.
And how do you think you can reach that goal?
I'm going to reach that goal by, one, being technically proficient in podcasting, understand how the technology works, understand how the culture of it works and on the business side, so I can get the message out to the right people. And then 3, the most important thing is being authentic to my purpose and to my guest.
Has this ever happened to you? It has to be once in a while, right? Where you about to do a podcast, like, man, like, I'm just not into it today. You just kind of, like I mentioned, kind of suck it up, just be professional about it, or?
Well, I mean, there's several times when I was hurt and, I just gotten out of surgery and my leg is absolutely killing me, or PT is absolutely just kicked my tail. I mean, a 28-minute PT session absolutely makes me feel like I'm going to cry. And one day I did in my truck at the VA parking lot, where I just didn't want to do it. I'm like, I just don't want to do anything. But, I'm like, okay, I committed to doing this. I'm going to get it done. But yeah, there's days like that. Absolutely.
So I think I read where you're doing some kind of like a fundraiser to raise money to buy some kind of van to take veterans to like different.
Yep.
Can you talk about that?
So I'm on the Veterans Advisory Council for the town of Abington, and one of the initiatives we have is to purchase a veterans mobility van. So unlike me, and I didn't have a ride to the VA. If a veteran needs a ride to the VA or the medical appointments, they can get a ride. And it's an $80,000 van. We're trying to get a new van so we don't have used problems. And we've raised about $57,000. And so I made a blanket that's in a local restaurant down there, and it's raised money. It's raised almost $1,000.
So this will make me sound like very, very stupid, right? But I was in the military, right? 2 or 3 years before I was about to retire. There was all this thing about, there's so many military veterans, like there was like these military veteran hospitals are having trouble taking care of veterans, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I thought only military retirees had to use VA hospital, right? I know it sounds stupid, I sound fucked up, but I didn't realize that all veterans could use it, right? My mind, so you just do you be in the military for 3 years to use a hospital life? To me, it made no sense, right? Like, sir, like what are you talking about? All veterans use hospital. I was like, oh shit, all veterans? I did not realize. I thought it was only military retirees.
It's any veteran with a disability rating, I think, and if you meet the requirements, you can get VA care.
Yeah.
And if I may, I can tell people that, there's a lot of, people who think VA care is bad and this and that. My VA PT section absolutely did an amazing job.
You hear the horror stories? Like, I go to America Lake here in Lakewood, Washington. I've had nothing but great experience. Now, are they like I don't know, luxury hotel, 5-star customer service? Maybe not, but I'm satisfied, right? But I know a lot of veterans. You hear these horror stories, like, oh, they didn't take care of me, and my cousin died in 3 years, But
Well, I mean, I asked him, have you gone to your appointments? And like, well, no. What do you mean you didn't go to your appointments? Well, I just didn't want to. Well, then,
that fucks the whole system up.
So your complaint, you didn't go to your appointment, you didn't reschedule your appointment, you didn't get seen, you're hurting worse, and it's the VA's fault. Yes. No.
Yeah.
You're lazy.
And I have a good friend of mine. She used to work in a VA hospital in Seattle, and she would tell me all the time, like a veteran would like come up out of nowhere, right? I need like 2 a.m. I need this done, right? And it's like, what? My foot hurts. Take care of me right now.
Well, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I'd like it to, but it doesn't. But the care is good. The care is good.
I agree with you. The care is good, right? Could it be better? Everything can be better, right?
Sure.
Could we all have our own personal doctor and nurse? We just call up, hey, my pinky toe hurts. Give me some fucking Vicodin, whatever the case may be,
Well, I want you to come to my bedside, deliver it to me, and then put it in my mouth for me. I mean, yeah, it could be better, but it's not that bad.
No, I just laugh. I don't laugh at it. I see people's concerns sometimes, and you hear horror stories of different ones. I think El Paso, Texas gets a lot of bad publicity. That's supposed to be kind of bad if you believe the Facebook. But yeah, all in all, yeah, it's satisfactory care, right?
Yeah.
The one challenge is like one time I won't laugh at it. People say, "Oh, you're in the military, free health care." Like I told you before, I have a torn rotator cuff, right? So I got the what's it called? X-ray back in February, right? The doctor said in March, "Hey, you do have a torn rotator cuff," but my rehab doesn't start until like July, and then 6 months of rehab before I even get a surgery, right?
Wow.
So that is one kind of negative,
It does happen. It does happen.
Yeah. So tell us more about this like sci-fi podcasting panel you're on that you came to Seattle for.
Sure. 3 years ago, a major, she was a lieutenant when I was in, she was in Alpha Battery, I was in Charlie Battery, reaches out to me. She's from Maine. She's like, hey, I'm going to this, I went to this sci-fi conference and I want you to come. I'm like, well, why? And where is it? It's in Seattle. What's going on with that? She's like, well, we have a military track. And so I want you to be a part of it because you got the podcast and, I think you do good there. I'm like, well, when a major says, come, you try to make it happen. So I went, and it was really surprising. I didn't know much about Seattle. I'd never been to here before. And first of all, I had to understand that I wasn't in Seattle. I was in SeaTac.
Big difference.
Well, that's what I learned. I mean, Taylor's laughing, but there's Seattle, there's Tacoma, and then there's SeaTac. So I was never really in Seattle. I was in SeaTac. Anyway, I learned that, and then there's all these veterans who are sci-fi authors, writers, panelists. They brought in people who had worked on the nuclear programs, submariners, all kinds of subject matter experts. And we would talk about, hey, how do we attack a moon base or something like that? And it was really cool. You're with these different kinds of people, but there's all these veterans there. So I really liked it. And I came back the next year. And next year, they're like, hey, we'd like to do more in the podcasting space, more in the storytelling space. What do you think? I said, well, I think it'd be awesome. I mean, you all are very talented in what you do. So this year they had like true podcast tracks. So this morning I did a podcast track. I was the moderator, for example, on creating your space because, I literally had one guy take a home equity line of credit to build himself a podcast studio because he believed, Jason,
Wait, time out. He did what?
He took a home equity line of credit to build himself a podcast studio because he believed.
Had he done a podcast before?
No. Truth. He thought he was going to be the next Joe Rogan.
Of course he did.
That's for sure. He's still married. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he's still married. But, different story, different time. And so we're trying to tell people you can start off, in your car for if you have to. The idea is to get the story going. and we're having a lot of fun doing it, and I'm meeting some other cool veterans, and something that if we work it out, you could come and join us next year. I come here, and again, it's just a different part of the veteran experience.
That's crazy. But some people have the attitude, right? It's not. I find people like, oh, I'm gonna be a better guitar player than Jimmy Page, or I'm gonna do better than this. Like, I hope you are, but odds are it's not gonna work out.
No, I mean, I'm like, Joe Rogan has an entire marketing and social media team behind him. He has all the work he did before he became a podcaster. You don't.
He was UFC Joe Rogan, comedian Joe Rogan,
right?
Fear Factor Joe Rogan.
He paid his dues.
And thinking like he gets crazy. But I think about Joe Rogan, like he asks great questions, and even like people support you, like push back. I agree with you, but that makes fucking bullshit, right? And to me, he has such a good guest. Like, and another thing, like people like with Joe Rogan, unless you're a comedian, a UFC fighter, or some like, I hate to say weirdo, but you won't get on his podcast, right? So he did podcast. The guy named Python Cowboy, dude out of Florida.
Oh yeah.
All he does is like fucking hunt like alligators and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, I've seen that guy. Got himself a big 16-foot python.
Python Cowboy, yeah. He's had some great guests, yeah. They had Bernie Sanders on there one time. Yeah, he's just, yeah. He's like the, what's the word? Not the Mecca, but I guess the Mecca podcasters,
He's one I respect for certain.
Him, Lex, you ever listen to Lex Fridman podcast?
I have not, no.
Okay, he's like a real scientific guy. He's pretty good too. But there's so many good podcasts out there, right?
For sure.
So how do you do your schedule?
How do I do my schedule?
Yeah. You're a calendar freak, or how's that work?
If it's not in my Outlook, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
And I've been told, well, just use Calendly. I'm like, no, I hate that because I'll get it set up and then someone will cancel, someone else will cancel. And then it's like, well, I can't do that time. Can you just call me? We'll work it out. A lot of stuff is, across time zones anyway. So I like it in my Outlook. That way I can get my phone, I can see it right there, and I know when it's coming.
So right now, how many podcasts do you have scheduled?
I have 14.
Okay.
I'm almost out to July.
Okay. How often do people cancel?
Rarely.
Okay.
And it's just because, I have the 3 strikes and you're out rule.
Mm-hmm. I have the same rule, yeah.
I get it. Life happens. I've had my own, like it's not happening to any to cancel. But, you don't show up 3 times when the Zoom thing's running, or I've come to your place of business or our meeting place and I set my stuff and I'm waiting on you, you're out. And most people now, the kind of guests I get are they really want to come on the show. They really want to share, so I don't have to worry about that. But that's how it works.
How does a potential guest convince you to let them come on the podcast?
They got to be authentic. I'm kind of shying away from nonprofits now because I just think there's just too many of them out there. It's a different conversation. So, you got to be authentic. You don't have to be the best at what you do or have the biggest, following, but you have to be authentic. You have to be purpose-driven, and you've got to be willing to, talk to me about what you are doing and why.
Yeah, I don't do coaches, real estate, or financial people no more. Unless like Taylor recommended someone, I would do it, right? Like someone I know recommends, like one of those people I would do, but like some random Joe Blow, hey, I'm a financial coach from wherever that it's a wrap.
Yeah, financial coaches,
to me,
insurance people.
They were just too salesy, too about themselves.
Life coaches.
It felt so fucking dirty.
The only way I'll do a life coach is if there's only a few people like this is someone you need to talk to, but I generally don't like talking to them. And nonprofits, again, I'm beginning to think there's just too many veteran nonprofits out there.
Oh, dude, you're in the same boat. And like 22,000 million of them or something,
Right. Like for all the nonprofits, we should have no veteran should go hungry. Have right.
Here's a good one for you. So down at JBLM, there's one nonprofit that takes veterans deep sea fishing. Another one takes them fishing in the river. Another one takes them fishing in the lake. So 3 nonprofits that take people fishing, but that's different parts of fishing, right? Like, you're fucking killing me.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Well, it's a huge way. It's an easy way to move money through. It's a guaranteed tax write-off, and if you're not hitting the $50,000 level, so if you're raising under $50,000 a year, it's almost no scrutiny. Mm-hmm. The IRS makes you file the 990N. if you make
a little amount of money,
Yeah. So, that's why. But do we really need 3 fishing nonprofits in one space?
No.
Probably not.
No, just don't force it. Like you said, this, and like all the nonprofits, there should be no homeless, no one committing suicide, no one hungry. But so many of them are forced to like for lack of a better term, for themselves, right?
Yeah.
And it's fucking sad.
Yeah.
What can you do?
I'm very interested in people who, hey, you know what? Maybe I did get out with a dishonorable discharge, but I owned it. I maybe I was in drugs, but I owned it, and I figured out a way to make something out of that, and now I've turned my life around. Okay, I'm interested in talking with you then. Okay, you know what? We're not perfect, so if you figured out a way to move past your challenges in your life or your own bad decisions, great.
People ask me who's my best podcast guest. I always I steal from Tom Brady. The next one, to ask Tom Brady the best championship. He always says the next one.
For sure.
Mine is always the next one. Yeah.
And anybody who takes time out of their day to talk with me and share with me is great to me.
All right, someone turn over Taylor real fast. I have to use the bathroom real fast. I'm gonna let Taylor take over a little bit. Okay.
There you go. And now Taylor is stepping into the seat. What will she ask, Travis?
I have so many questions.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh, I ran this over though.
1 second.
Okay. We are in business.
Yes, we
Amazing.
are. Hello, Taylor.
Hello, Travis. How are you doing?
I'm doing right.
You enjoying the podcast?
Absolutely.
I love it. And you've done a lot of progress over there. It's so satisfying watching you doing the crocheting.
Well, I get it going. I'm in a good groove
Wow,
right
you're
now.
quick.
I'm in a good groove right now.
I love it.
What is on your mind?
So you said that you do weightlifting.
Yep.
Walk me through that world. I don't know anything about it, but I'm super curious.
I like competing in weightlifting because it's not powerlifting, so it's not the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. I do the two-handed snatch and the two-handed clean and jerk, the Olympic lifts.
What is that?
So
is it the one where you yank it up
yeah. And I've got a video to show you after we get done talking.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll show you my video from the Arnolds. I just like the feeling I get when I've taken something and beat gravity. And when I got overhead, I'm like, yes, I beat gravity that one time. And that feeling's never gotten old. And I also like that weightlifting forces me to think about how I move my body. And then, it forces me to take care of myself. Like I can't be, eating, and I love carbs a lot.
Me too.
And carbs love me back a lot. But I can't eat like that. I gotta have my sleep. I gotta be, disciplined to go do the workouts. And so it keeps me honest and engaged. And I was really sad when I got hurt that I wouldn't be able to do it again. So it's something that I enjoy doing. I've known my coach for quite some time. And it's just, I love it when I get to accomplish the goal.
I love that. Okay. Amazing. So how long have you been doing that for?
So I started in high school. The story goes, my dad bought me one of these concrete, this is from Walmart. It's called DP. It was the gray weights that were concrete with the gray plastic over them. He's like, well, when you can lift this 115 pounds overhead, then I'll get you some more weight. I'm like, challenge accepted. So it took me all summer, but I finally got overhead 3 times. I said, okay, Dad, I'm ready for some more weight. And he's like, oh, darn, I got to do something now. And he took me to LSU Shreveport where, there was a guy named the name of Dr. Pierce there. And he eventually worked with an Olympian, Kendrick Ferris, and he taught me how to do weightlifting, and I loved it. And I found out that I could do it pretty good for, at that time. And then I joined the Marine Corps, kind of got out of it because running and weightlifting don't really mix. And then when I got into the Boston area, I picked it up again.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, welcome back. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book of all time. Wow.
Killers of fucking natural.
Why, thank you very much. I even got the buttons down.
I have a couple. Dune is the Bible, the Dune, Pilgrim's Progress, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I love it. That's a good mix.
Yep.
Do you read any business books, or you're more like recreational reading is your jam?
No, I read some business books. The one I read recently was The Principles of Investing. It's a small book, so it takes you through how to look at a stock and decide if it's good or not, and how to be disciplined in investing. So Warren Buffett's former daughter-in-law wrote that book.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard about that.
Yep.
I love it. Okay.
So
Yeah, being disciplined in investing is really important. I think that's my biggest issue.
Yeah, talked about how investing is different than speculation. A lot of people speculate, but this is, like avoid investing in airlines, for example, because of their high cost, and how to look at a stock in the long term, and how Buffett has done his investing. So that's really kind of changed my perspective on how to do stock investing.
Incredible. Love it. Okay. And so I'm getting the sense that the things that have shaped you as a person were mostly the Marine Corps, and then what you're doing professionally, as well as like some of the hobbies you have, like weightlifting. Is that kind of the full picture?
Yeah, I think for anybody, a lot of times it's adversity that shapes them, and you only get really tested unless you're put through the fire, and sometimes struggle can make you better than what you are.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. What else do you guys usually ask on here?
Well, so we're only supposed to talk for an hour, and look how much fun we're having. So
I know, yeah.
It's great. So usually at this time, I would ask you, like, Taylor, you're coming to MCC, and I've met you in Seattle, and we've had this amazing experience with Jason. Taylor, what's next for you?
Oh, I like that. Okay. Should I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not that.
What's next for me? Well, assuming everything goes well at MCC, hoping I'm a good speaker. I'm much better at speaking in front of a crowd than I am one-to-one, so I'm really excited for that.
You're doing a good job right now, though.
Well, I thank you very much. Yeah, I've done a few speaking engagements, and I've really enjoyed it. And I think geofencing is just such an important topic to get in front of other people. And most of the business owners I talk to, they've never heard of it. And it's just such a powerful tool. So I think the next step for me is maybe trying to get more of those speaking engagements, and just trying to be more of an educator on what geofencing is and how it can help other businesses. So I'd say that's a big thing I'm working on.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I can ask you too.
Absolutely.
Travis, after Military Creator Con, what's next on your roster?
So what's next is
Yeah.
I'm doing MC work at the IES Brain Foundation Golf Outing for the second year in a row. I'm doing some other vocal work for some other vocal projects that people want me in on. I'm being encouraged to, there's this app called Calm, and someone's like, hey, if you just read like those mental aspirations, like, you are awesome.
Yeah.
Breathe calmly. Like, people would really like that. So the theme is to use my voice more.
I love that. We were talking about this earlier today, actually. Like, you have a very calming and very good radio voice. So that would be really funny for meditation apps.
I'm being emphatically encouraged to do more with it.
You have to.
Okay.
Absolutely, you have to. No, I'm going to start thinking about this.
Well, we got to think of how a way to incorporate this in geofencing. It'd be like, when you walked in somewhere,
Ads.
like, Travis is here.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
That's true. And then on the flip side, like, we're constantly developing ads for clients. And so it'd be cool to have you doing some of that voiceover work. Maybe I can have you as like a referral partner.
There's a way, Taylor.
Yeah. No, seriously. That would be amazing. I love it.
Awesome.
Well, it was really nice meeting you. It was nice talking to both of you. I have to get going.
Yep.
But it was amazing seeing you. And I'll see you at Military Creator Con
Very soon.
very soon.
Awesome.
I love it. I'm going to give this back to Jason. Give you your seat back.
Bye, Taylor.
Bye.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
So this is one thing I think, I could be wrong. This is one thing I think a lot of speakers at Military Career Con are getting it wrong, right? So there's so many speakers there, right? And let's suppose there's X amount of people that attend the conference, right?
Yep.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think a lot of people are thinking like, there's X amount going to a Creator Con, that number is going to see me speak. No. So there's like 8 of us speaking every 20 minutes, right? And to mom, it's up to us as speakers to influence people to come see us, right? That's why I'm like every day doing a countdown on Instagram, on LinkedIn, That's why I convinced, like, I'm gonna have Taylor and Barry help me get people to see me talk. I'm gonna have them see people talk. I have 2 nieces that live in Dallas. I convinced them that their son and daughter skip school Thursday and Friday to come have people like convince them to see me talk. Right? I could be wrong. Right? I just think so many people are like, oh, I'm gonna show up to speak, and they're gonna come see me talk. Right? I think I have this wrong, or
I don't think you're wrong. In fact, I think you're saying something that I've kind of internalized. I haven't really talked about it until now, but you know, it is going to be on us to get people in front of our audience. It is going to be up to the speaker to give people a reason to come listen to what we got to say. And you're right. I mean, there's going to be a lot of congestion going on for people's attention in a good way. But I think also what you said is when we get up there and do our presentation, we got to bring it. So
we got to fucking kill it, like, for a better term.
Yeah. And it's all good, but I think that we're all capable of doing it.
Yeah. My thing too, like I told, like, I kind of helped James Morrow with like a post-server thing. I think one thing they need to do is like suppose I finish talking, right?
Yeah.
Suppose I have 20 people see me talk. Hopefully it's more like 20 people see me talk. There should be some kind of service say, Jason killed it, or like, I'll never see Jason talk again, right? And like, suppose there's 30 speakers, then they rank order those speakers, right? And if you didn't make the cut, like, you don't get invited next year.
I don't know if they had talked about doing that. I think it's a very interesting idea. I know that other, cons do that. Like Northwest Con has in their guidebook app a way you can rank the panel. And make no mistake, I've learned in the last 3 years, the reason we're doing the podcasting panel is for what you just said. People wanted to see more of the podcasting. The Miltrack panel got going because people wanted to see and hear military stuff. And those panels that do well, they're built on. Those that aren't are, I mean, it's a very, and I understand why, right? You pay to go to the conference, you want your people to come back. So you're not going to put out stuff they don't want to see. But I think the same thing should apply here in some way.
Yeah, hopefully everyone has the attitude, all the speakers attitude, like, how can I provide value? How can we give the best experience? But I mean, there's going to be a few people be like, hey, like, sell, all that kind of stuff, right?
I hope they don't come with that mindset. I hope they come.
Just based on stats is going to happen, unfortunately, I think,
I think hope they come with the mindset to build.
Yeah, hopefully too, yeah.
Man, this is the foundation.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different speakers, people like personal coaching, storytelling, creatives, on and on and on. Is there a subject that's not being spoken about that you would have been like being spoken about?
I don't know, because it seems like, based on the number of speakers and panels we have there, almost the entire gamut is covered. Like, I think one of the things that's really cool to see is the number of military spouses that are doing like.
I'm very impressed with that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So I like that a lot. So I think, I think it's going to take a couple of years to really dial in what people really need or maybe understanding what people are looking for and being able to provide speakers who meet that need. So
the creative is so big, like, you can't have everything involved, right?
No.
It's just too, like, I mean, there's pottery, there's creative writing, there's like music guitar, there's music production, there's like,
video editing.
There's no way we can cover all of it.
And then the financial aspect that you're trying to cover,
like how to be a business person, know.
Right. And so I think it's going to have to get focused, narrowed down going forward.
So here's one for you. So the conference starts the 16th. There's a keynote speech. So basically the conference is like, making this up, like, from the 16th to 18th, 8 to 8, basically 8 in the morning, like midnight every day, right?
Yeah.
How many hours of sleep do you think you'll be able to get every day? Are you gonna treat it like Vegas? I sleep when I go home.
No, I'm going to have to. I mean, because again, I'm doing a lot of work there. I've already told Mara, like, look, you might not see me at some of these late night events. I'll be in bed, and it's just because I'm speaking Saturday, Thursday night, and Friday night. To me, I treat this like I do my weightlifting. Like, if I got to get up there and speak, and this is what I prepared for, then I got to have the self-discipline to say, well, no to the party. Yeah,
like me, I speak Friday at 2 p.m. Like, I ain't doing shit Thursday night. I gotta sleep. I gotta be locked in. I gotta practice. Yeah, Thursday night. Yeah, I'll do what I do. But yeah, I'm like you, right? You gotta be locked in.
You gotta be locked in. I mean, because it's for you and me. It's your brand. It's what you're trying to do, and you're trying to build a whole lot here, and you've got pieces of it laid out. You can see that very clearly, but this is you, man.
Don't get me wrong. My talk is over like 2:25 on the 17th. It's game on after that.
Right.
It's fucking game on.
Oh, and Marv's got a lot of good stuff planned for us.
She does, yeah. Like Casino Royale thing, cigar whiskey night, yeah. And then, if I recall right, they have like the mayor of Arlington talking, the mayor of Dallas, mayor of like Fort Worth talking, you know.
Yeah.
And they did all good things, yeah. It's going to be a good event, right? So, doing the podcast 9 years, has it always been Oscar Mike Radio?
It's always been Oscar Mike Radio.
So no pivots, no just straight 9 years, basically the same thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Most people like pivot. Like I've pivoted like maybe 4 or 5 times in my podcast.
Well, it's always about military and veteran stuff or military stories or military history, you know, and to me, I don't pivot off that, but there's so many different things you can talk about in the military space. I mean, there are guys who just do podcasts on military tanks.
Yeah.
And we could do a podcast on that for the next 10 years, you and I, and not even scratch the surface, just talk about Russian tanks. Mm-hmm. So, you know, to me, it's to the point where I either start doing like 2 days a week, 3 days a week to talk about more, or I just keep doing this. But it's pivoted within the military space for certain, but I haven't pivoted off of that.
So I think you said before, like you did a podcast series like Black History Month.
Yep.
Do you ever like focus on like specific like military dependents, military spouses, contractors, or anything like that?
Every now and then, you know, there'll be a series on something like that. Yeah, sure.
Okay. How do you think you can get better as a podcaster?
There is, you know, the technical spot of it. You know, do I have the right equipment? Do I need to look at my microphone and make sure I have my microphone dialed in? Is my lighting good? Am I, you know, enunciating my words properly? Am I crafting my story the best way? Again, I'm not going to sit there and tell you I'm an expert. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I'm the best at it. I've always looked at it as I can always improve. There's always something I'm trying to look at. There's some shows, like I did a show, I'm like, you know what? I should have followed up that question. I did not follow up the question the way I wanted to. Okay, we learn from that and move forward. There's either the presentation side of it, the technical side of it, but for me, I think what you're going to see in the next year and a half is truly the business side of it. Like, you know, how can I make this into something that maybe doesn't generate revenue, but can be, you know, marketed like a business to get to that Joe Rogan-esque level. As you know, like his podcast is a business, and that's where I want to take Oscar Mike Radio.
And you do the podcast same day, same time every week?
It goes out the same time time every week. But I like, for instance, you know, I flew out to SeaTac on Thursday, but I did a recording on Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and then Saturday and Friday the week before. I did six shows in 2 days. It was crazy.
Okay.
But that's what I had to do to make time to do this.
So talk about this, right? So my podcast kind of sort of monetized a little way, not as good as it should be. But like, people don't realize like it's kind of hard to monetize, right? Like everyone's not Joe Rogan, right? You got to have some kind of source of proof, right?
It's hard to monetize, and then when you have people say, "Well, you know, I just, you know, made a slight change and I got, you know, 40,000 downloads," it smells.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is when you see the download farms in, you know, the Philippines or Thailand or India, where people are just, you know, with banks and rooms of cell phones doing it, it really diminishes what you're doing. So it's hard. There's limited attention. And then, you know, what I try to tell people is, you know, the number one thing that will help your podcast is consistency.
Yeah.
You might do it 2 times a month. You might do it once a week. You might do it every day, but you have to be consistent. Otherwise, the algorithms on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, who are the 2 big ones now, will punish you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And the thing with podcast stats, like one thing I wish I had some kind of like one size fit all podcast out where you just go to this one place, right?
No, it's not that way.
And even too, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify's different. You have like listen notes, Libsyn, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't count YouTube. I got a lot of views on LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live doesn't count. I got a lot of views. I do like after this podcast, I do it like 2-3 hours, right? I used to think of Oprah Pro is going to make like a 55 short 1 minute video clips.
Sure.
I get stuff for that, but none that counts for the stats, right? Like, supposedly I'm like a top 2% podcast, but if you look at the stats, like, there's no fucking way I'm a top 2% podcast, right? If you look at stats.
Well, I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, Listen Notes ranks me differently, but it's what I've been told. So when I went on C-SPAN, I've been on C-SPAN 4 times. What they told me was they looked at my consistency first. Mm-hmm. They looked at the length of time I've been doing it, and then they looked at the type of guests I had and the quality of guest. They didn't look at the number of downloads I had or the number of subs I had. They didn't even care. And the reason they didn't is because they had run into issues where, a podcaster has, 100,000 downloads and, 5,000 subscribers, but he's only put out, 8 shows in the entire calendar year.
Or they have 100,000 downloads this podcast, the next podcast, they got like 25.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's an instant tell that,
Yeah. Well, I do have a lot of great guests. And people ask all the time, how you get such great guests? Like, well, either ask me or ask them, right? It's as simple as that,
It's that way, and then I tell people it's word of mouth. One guest will have a great experience. They'll tell their friends and family. PR people, like the PR director for, a guest will have a good experience with me. And it's like, okay, if you talk to this person, great. Then I can get him on again with this other person, and you develop a relationship.
See, like me, like if I counted all the podcast guests in Seattle, Vietnam, and like this Zoom, I could easily do 2 podcasts a day easily.
For sure.
Like it's fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
And people like I guess like everyone wants to tell the story, right? Everyone wants to like put the stuff out there. It's amazing, right? But people have a lot of good stories. Like people like I don't have nothing to talk about. Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You have something to talk about.
For sure.
Another thing too, I laugh about like people like my podcast like is kind of long, right? We're going about 2.5 hours now, right? People will say, Jason, I talk a lot, but dude, there's no fucking way I can talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? Okay, I understand this. Come on anyway. Come on. Hey, come on the podcast. We finish this podcast like, Jason, what happened? We talked for 30 minutes. Dude, check your watch. I talked for 3. Yeah, dude, you talk for 3 fucking hours. You will not shut the fuck up.
Well, everybody's different. That's the great thing about podcasting is, what works for you might not work for somebody else. You make it work for you. And as long as the guest is having a great experience, and who cares how long it is? I do my show differently. It's just the way I do it.
You got to do what you come from. You got to be authentic, right?
Right. This space that you've created, this ecosystem you've created, works very well for you, and you can see that.
Yeah. You ever thought about doing like a second podcast?
I have. Yes.
Would it be like on weightlifting?
No, mainly about men's advocacy. There's a lot of guys I've helped post-divorce who really get down themselves for a lot of different reasons. There's been times where I've gotten a call from a veteran saying, "Hey man, I got court tomorrow. I don't have a suit. I'm screwed. The judge is going to really crank on me if I don't have a suit and tie." And we'll get him a suit and tie, or hey, I'm trying to fill out my forms for court and I'm all stressed out. It's a very challenging time for a lot of people. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes during that time, and they don't have to. Mm-hmm. And if they get the support they need, it can be a really no one wins in divorce, but can be something that can really change their lives for the better if they let it.
Yeah, we don't definitely talk about men's health enough, right? So I'm on TikTok way too much, right? And someone posted on TikTok one time, this guy, like our age, right? And of course, with all this social media stuff, you don't know if it's like staged or like actually like authentic, right? Cause like who has a fucking phone recording everything, right?
Right.
Like, so maybe it's staged, right? But this guy, right? He's kind of older in years. And he had like a spool of wire, right? Like a electrical wire, right? And he's talking about, man, I've had this spool of wire for 25 years. It's about gone, right? And the wire's like, just buy another one. And people are like, are you fucking me? Like, they basically, people are like, are you fucking me? Like, this 25 years of your husband's life, you just fucking like dismiss him like that, right? In his mind, like, man, your life is coming to end, right? Like this spool of wire.
Yeah.
And so many people don't get that, right?
No, it's something else. And I think, there's a lot of us out there who have been through divorce and don't talk about it. I think you look at why men commit suicide and why men have problems in the military. Married men have problems in the military. A lot of it's because of divorce or infidelity. I had Marines I served with, we'd come back from the field, and one of them went home on a surprise, like, hey, the sergeant let him go home. He was going back to Maine side to get something, so he stopped by his house, and he found his wife with other men. It was not a good afternoon for him, and changed his entire life. And so, what do you do? How do you pick up the pieces from that? I think it needs to be talked about more in a real way, not a I hate women way, but this is my life, and this is what I did with it kind of way.
So during the Iraq War, right, I was the commander in Vincennes, Italy, HR company, right? And so we didn't go to Iraq War, but we pushed out 173rd Airborne Brigade, right? So you push them right, and like everyone is gone from the military base. Maybe a few of us were left, right? We had to send half the wives home because they got back to people, soldiers in Iraq, the wives were fucking around them, right? Because of morale stuff, we had to send half the wives back home because there's a buck wild, right? It was fucking ridiculous.
It happens. It's not talked about enough. I mean, sometimes military spouses get a lot of flack. They're called dependents and other things, and but in a way, I get it. I get it. And when you see it, it's kind of hard to not unsee it, and you got to talk about it, because I don't know about you, but in certain jobs, there's real people with real problems, bringing those problems to work, and I'm like, you need that guy to be like right, and if he's not right, he shouldn't be there.
So you have a full-time job doing cybersecurity,
Yeah,
and you do all the awesome my career, all the other stuff like kind of on the side, right?
yeah.
So basically, you have like 2 full-time jobs.
I guess, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a job to me, but I've gotten very efficient with OMR over the years. So sometimes it's really, really busy, and sometimes I have my schedule and everything's laid out, and it doesn't seem, that bad in terms of just trying to get everything done. But it doesn't feel like work because I enjoy doing it. But yeah, I'm I got my hands pretty full.
So how do you make sure you take care of yourself? How do you make sure you allocate time to take care of Travis?
That's the weightlifting. That's the weightlifting all the way.
How often do you do that?
4 days a week.
Okay.
And then in the summertime, it's almost time for motorcycle. Oh!
You ride a motorcycle?
Yeah, I do.
That's one thing I want to learn a motorcycle.
Once you do it, Jason, you'll never look back.
You ever worry about the dangerous part of it? Like,
Sure,
killing yourself, whatever your case may be?
Sure, I'm like, but no one's guaranteed anything in life. You can run, 4 days a week, eat nothing but, low fat food and still drop
like
dead.
That dude, Jim, I think his name's Jim Fix.
I think, I don't know that name, but
This guy, I think his name was Jim Fix. He ran like for 38 years, like 10 miles a day, and he died like with no cause, yeah.
So nothing's guaranteed. So I just really enjoy it. I also like going to the archery range and shooting my bow. But I find like out of all that, the weightlifting is the one thing that forces me to put all that stuff away, focus on something different.
See, you and Joe are going to hang out. He's been archery. He's been on weightlifting. You and Joe are going to hang out for a day.
Well, we're hanging out right now. We're having a pretty darn good time. So,
what kind of motorcycle do you have?
I have a Yamaha Stratoliner.
Okay.
It's a big V twin.
And like you completely covered up, or you want to do like no helmet,
no
helmet, flip flop shorts.
I was talking about this
skin showing
at NorwestCon, and I told somebody, I'm like, I safety toe boots, long pants, gloves, full face helmet.
Yeah.
Because I laid down my Honda Shadow 1100 in Yuma. I hit my front brake. And the front tire caught an oil slick, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the sky like, the hell did I get here?
Mm-hmm. It's just like that, right?
The bike just went boom when I locked up the front tire, and I had my helmet on, I had all my stuff on, but I had these steel-toed boots on, and we looked at it, and there's like this slash over the left toe of the boot where the brake lever, the shifter lever, had dug into my boot. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't have steel-toed boots on, I would have probably, damaged or lost some toes. It's crazy. So I got the gospel when it comes to
So it's never like, I'm just going 5 blocks away, I'll go in my shorts. It's always like full battle rattle, so to speak.
road rash is real, man. Road rash is not fun, and you dress for the ride, you dress for the slide, not the ride. And
Okay.
yes, I'll see it, especially up there in Massachusetts. You'll see some guy on his Harley in flip flops, shorts, and a tank top, and with a little skid lid helmet. He thinks he's cool, and I'm like, okay, the process of natural selection will take care of that.
Because it only takes one driver not paying attention, right?
Just one.
Or maybe some dude driving his car and had a heart attack, or someone drunk driving.
Well, I mean, these cars are so quiet now, and these cell phones are so prevalent that it gets really unfun. I like riding when there's no one on the road, and that can be hard sometimes.
What's the fastest you've gone?
I did 141 miles an hour on a bike one time.
Okay.
And I was hanging on.
Yeah.
I did it once. I said I did it, and then I never need to do that again.
And you live in Vermont?
No, I live in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Is Massachusetts a real good like motorcycle roads and stuff?
Once you get out of the main cities, yeah, there's
Okay.
a lot of good roads. But if you're like in the Boston area where I'm at,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just cars everywhere.
And so you don't drive much around the city?
No, I don't. I head around the city, and I'll go up to New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont. Western Mass is beautiful. They have a small mountain, nothing like here, but they have Mount Greylock out there. It's about 3,500 feet elevation.
So, like for a better term, you have like a motorcycle gang. I've got like 20 of y'all.
No, I'm not a biker guy.
Like riding around and
I'm not
stuff.
a biker guy.
So more like a loner type.
I like riding alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one other person, two maybe, but I don't like doing those fundraising rides. There's just too many people, and I'm just not a big group ride guy.
So let's suppose you're on a bike ride, a motorcycle ride. You have all your gear on, right? Do you then have like a backpack with regular clothes on? You go somewhere, change out your motorcycle clothes, put your regular clothes on?
I got my clothes underneath my motorcycle jacket, stuff like that, and I got saddlebags.
Okay.
So if I need to change, I got my clothes in there.
What's the longest you've ridden?
So the longest trip I've taken was from Yuma, Arizona to Boston, Mass. After the Marine Corps.
Oh, shit.
So I did that. And
That's fucking insane, man.
It was great. I freaking loved it. And the longest single stretch still was from El Paso, Texas to Houston, Texas.
That's a hell of a ride right there.
That
is fucking. I can't think of the word I'm looking for now. That's fucking it's sucking. Yeah.
When I got off the bike in Houston, I was like, I was done. It just mentally.
You did I-10 the whole way.
Yeah.
That is no fucking joke.
That was something else. And then the second time I did that, I did Boston to Bar Harbor, Maine, and back in one day. I don't know why I did that. There's no reason for me to do that, but I just got the bike and I were doing really good, so I just did it, and it was good. So I like those long rides in moderation.
How often do you replace your motorcycle?
Ooh,
Or you buy more? You got a bike and it's yours for life.
it's a bond with me, Jason. I call her Felicity.
Felicity, okay. I know most people have names of a motorcycle. Yeah,
She's mine. I'm hers, and nothing against marriage and guys who love their wives, but you know what? My motorcycle, when I turn her on and I hit the starter button, she starts for me, and she never complains. In fact, she's always happy to see me. So it's
there's one for you. I always wondered this, right? So you see a like motorcycle, right, and the motorcycle like in the public street. How come more motorcycles will get stolen, right? I know it's heavy, but it's like this. Like I don't know. How come more motorcycles will get stolen?
Well, a lot of people don't know how to ride anymore. We're in the United States now. If you're in Europe and certain parts of Asia where everybody rides, that's one thing. But think about it. A lot of young people don't know how to do manual shifting anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to actually know what you're doing and to get it to move anywhere. And then mine's like almost 900 pounds. Like it's not easy to move around when you don't know what you're doing with it. So it's pretty good.
So it's pretty kind of hard to if your motorcycle falls down, it's kind of hard to pick it up.
No, it's a low center of gravity. I can pick it up pretty easy.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about that. But if you want to get in the back end of a pickup truck, that's a different matter entirely.
So you ever do any wheelies or anything like that? Any tricks or nothing like that? No, nothing too crazy.
It won't do those.
No backwards driving or nothing.
No. I just want to get on the bike, turn on, start it up, and then get done with the ride.
You ever a red light? It looks to the left. There's a Ford Mustang.
Every now and then.
I challenge them to a race.
It gets funny. The Harley guys try to do that, and then I'm like, I'm going to smoke this guy right now. And that's fine. They get all mad and upset, but what can you do?
Yeah. And how long have you been driving motorcycles?
Since I was 18 years old.
And how do you learn? Like someone taught you to start yourself?
I went to the library and checked out a book about motorcycle basics. I got a motorcycle magazine, and then my first bike was a Yamaha Seika 650, a little small bike. It was a great little bike, and just learned.
So can I go, we'll say the Yamaha dealer in Seattle, Washington, and just buy a bike and they'll sell it to me? Like no driver license, no proof of being able to ride? Okay.
Probably, yeah. Once you sign your name to it, it's your problem, not theirs.
And if I kill myself, it's on me, not them.
Yeah.
There's no, hey, you sold a bike to some dude that's never rode a bike before.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if laws have changed, but unless you have your cycle endorsement, you can buy pretty much whatever you want to buy.
I mean, it does just like so much fun, right?
It's a blast.
Yeah.
Totally at peace. Nothing bothering you. And up here is so pretty. I'm surprised that more people don't ride. But.
I mean, the challenge here is pretty, like maybe 3 months out of the year, right? Like, you were here yesterday, right?
Yeah.
You seen how crappy it was here yesterday? Yeah. So yesterday was like stereotypical Seattle, Washington weather.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Today it was crazy. Like today it's on like 55 degrees. Fuckers outside in shorts, t-shirts, flip flops.
It's crazy.
Like it's 55 degrees.
Doesn't take much.
No, but it's like always I joke around when it's beautiful. But when it's not here.
Yeah.
And so you live in the Massachusetts all your life?
Yeah. No, I haven't. So I live in the Midwest, and my parents moved us down south. I joined the Marine Corps, spent some time out west, and then I moved to Massachusetts.
Okay, so it's like home now?
Not really. I'm looking to move.
What are you trying to move to?
Somewhere where it's warmer. I was telling some of the Northwest Con people we got 40 inches of snow in February. I'm all good.
So this one thing I learned about Seattle kind of shocked me when I first learned it. Seattle's actually higher up than Boston is.
Yep.
That blew me away. What?
It is. And both cities are on the kind of ocean, but Seattle's a higher elevation than Boston is.
That kind of blew me away, yeah.
And because Boston, you got to remember, they had to build that up. It was at one time below sea level in certain parts.
Yeah. Here's something crazy for you. So, like, we're maybe like 2 blocks away from the ocean, right? Like, so we're like First Avenue. All the way to Fourth Avenue, the tide still comes up underneath the street.
Yeah.
So it's fucking insane, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Is there anything else I asked you I haven't asked you yet? Or anything else you want to talk about?
I'm just hoping that we go to Military Creator Con, and James and Mara have worked so hard on it. I hope it's a good outcome for them. And I know it's kind of like a newer con, but I hope people really see like the long-term vision, and I hope we can help them get there.
Yeah, definitely. And like back to like what I'm talking about, like if you're a speaker, it's something on you, like bring people into your room. Like I'm competitive as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all military, we're all competitive. We're all kind of effort, right? I don't know what I'd do if I gave my talk like only 2 people showed up, right? Like my goal is to have more people there than anyone else, right? And hopefully every speaker who's listening to this, your goal should be more people see you speak than anyone else, right? You should do what you got to do to have people come see you talk.
I'm trying, we'll see what happens. I look at if only one person shows up, okay, I'm going to talk to that one person. If they go back, start their own TV show and it launches their brand, their business or whatever, then great. I've done it. And part of the thing is for me too is, I'm there in other capacities. So it's a different experience for me this year.
Yeah. And one thing like you would like to see everyone speak, for me, pops are right. Because they're like 4 speakers at a time. You can't see everyone speak. So definitely I got to see this people you want to see talk, right? Make connections, like do meetings, like do networking. Like it's going to be a cool event, right? Let's be like, just be open to like different possibilities, I think.
For sure. Well, like this, like if you had told me a week and a half ago that I would be meeting, Taylor twice in one day, and then talking for you and Taylor, I'd be like, no way. But because of MCC, this worked out, and who knows what happens next year? Maybe you come check out Northwest Con and get involved in that and meet some other veterans there. I don't know, but this is how this stuff happens. Yeah,
definitely. So how can people reach out to you?
It's very simple. My website is OscarMikeRadio.com, and my email address is Travis@OscarMikeRadio.com, and you can reach out to me there. I get a lot of emails. Some just go right into the spam. I check that too. So just email me.
So before we get out here, give us any wisdom or advice about anything you want to talk about.
If I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. The only advice I would have for somebody in this podcasting or creation space is you have to identify your purpose as to why you're doing this, and not just because I want to make money. That's not what I mean. Why are you in this space? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your goal? What is your purpose with what you do? And if you can identify that and create everything around that, you'll never be wrong. And you'll never be jaded or frustrated. You're going to have hard days on a good day, but if you stay to your purpose, you'll be okay.
Travis, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Jason, it's been an amazing experience.
And to our listeners, thank you for your time as well. Remember to be great every day.